Ladies and gentlemen, we'll start our event in 5 minutes.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, we would like to pay attention to the technical issues of our today's conference. Pictures and videos of the participants will be taken during the event and used for publications, both in printed and digital form, and may also be saved for this purpose. The photos and videos are used exclusively for public relations or documentation purposes. For those who doesn't want to be on the pictures and videos, can turn off the camera. If you want to remain anonymous, you can change your name. Moreover, our conference is being broadcast in parallel on YouTube and the landing page of the event. Dear participants, we are pleased to welcome you to today's conference, Organic Export During the War, which is organized by the State Institution, Entrepreneurship and Export Promotion Office in the framework of the state project Dear Business, together with the Organic Standard Certification Body and Organic Initiative, and supported by Switzerland within the framework of the Swiss Ukrainian program, Higher Value Added Trade from the organic and dairy sector in Ukraine and organic trade for development in Eastern Europe. And right away, I would like to introduce you to my colleague who will moderate the second part of the conference, Natalia Prokopchuk, Organic Component Coordinator at Swiss Ukrainian Program, Higher Value Added Trade from the organic and dairy sector in Ukraine.
Good morning, welcome to everyone. And I would like to wish to all of us a very productive conference. And I would like to introduce to you Andrey Litvin, Deputy Director of the State Institution Entrepreneurship and Export Promotion Office.
Thank you, Natalia. So let's start the event. Unfortunately, our first speakers, Mr. Taras Kachka and Mr. Mustafa Nayem. Okay, I see that Mr. Taras Kachka is with now. I'm pleased to open a welcome session and invite to speak Mr. Taras Kachka, Deputy Minister of Economy of Ukraine, Trade Representative of Ukraine. Mr. Taras, the floor is yours.
Hello, colleagues. So just it's okay. It's vertical, yeah. So that's
yes, we see you.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Greetings to everyone. I think that's for me to talk about organic production is something like trivial, so that's why it's difficult to talk about like really a lot of news in this regard. But at the same time, I see that organic production and organic goods is getting more and more up in the agenda of economic reforms and economic recovery, since there is a big accent in political debate on the support of production and export of goods with bigger value added and with less weight, because for us the volume of export now is a big problem since of due to the blockage of seaports. That's why there are a lot of news, a lot of ideas how to ensure that we orient and we specialize more on organic, on products that have better value and maybe less burdensome for logistics. At the same time, I see that there is a necessity to pay additional attention to organic production, because organic products are not treated separately or from customs point of view, and we see that in our export of wheat or of other grain products out of organic production, organic production has the same logistical treatment, and that's why there is a big pressure on these products, and that's why I think that there is a area for further discussion and improvements. So that's together with Ministry of Infrastructure, we have a constant discussion on everything related to the ways and means of improvement of logistics to the of our exports, maybe with some kind of allocation of priorities for particular products. But I'm strongly against this idea because it is too severe for or it's too damaging intervention of government into the market. Nevertheless, there are talks and brainstormings on how to improve this as well. At the same time, so that what we are looking for is for improving market access for our products. As you know, for the next year, the export to the EU will be absolutely out of tariffs. So that we see that during this year we will work quite intensively on improving the situation with on discussing how to maintain this status quo for further periods, because we have we deal with in agriculture, we deal with products that require multi-annual efforts and programming in terms of cultivation, production, financing, etc. So from all perspective, it seems that organic production is getting more and more attention to in the government. So that's why I think that it will be like additional. So we see that organic production from another angle now, and we see that we will be able to. So we use the competitive advantage of organic production for improving the quality of our export, and this is a priority for Ministry of Economy, Agriculture, and Infrastructure as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taras, for your update on the work of the Ministry of Economy in the framework of the development of Ukrainians export. I would like to invite our next speaker. Unfortunately, the Deputy Minister of Infrastructure of Ukraine will be a little bit late. So I'm pleased to invite Andrey Remizov, Acting Director of the State Institution, Entrepreneurship and Export Promotion Office. Andrey, please, the floor is yours.
Good morning, dear colleagues. Thank you for the invitation. So the general goal and one of the goals of the EPO, our office, is to development the organic sector and help SMEs in this sphere to export their products to EU and other countries. And we see that today Ukraine can provide a domestic market with products and sell for export, and Ukrainian SMEs continue to work and does not plan to lose its position as one of the top exporters of organic products in the world. And that is why the EU and the UK remain the highest priority markets for Ukrainian companies. This is due to the abolition of quotas and customs duties per year on exports of Ukrainian products. Also well-established logistics, but however, this is now a major problem for Ukrainian exporters, unfortunately. And finally, we have an existing network of partners who bought organic products before the war. And despite the military action and threats in our country, Ukraine continues to make a significant contribution to global food security. Organic production for Ukrainians is not just a business. I think, frankly speaking, it's like a philosophy of life. And together with our partners, we organized this event today to discuss the main problem and opportunities of the Ukrainian organic sector, as well as to find possible points for growth during the war for this sector. And I hope that this event will be useful for all producers in the field of organic products. And finally, I also want to thank our partners, ministries, Ministry of Economy, Ministry of Infrastructure, and our international partners, Organic Standard Certification Body and Organic Initiatives, and Switzerland support within the framework of the Swiss-Ukrainian programs QFTP and OT4D. Thanks a lot, and have a nice event.
Thank you, Andrey. Also, as an office representative, I would like to empathize that the development of the organic sector is the priority for us, and we are doing everything possible on our part so that the world learns more about Ukraine and our perfect producers. Now, I would like to invite Mrs. Ludmila Khomychak to the floor, Deputy Director of the Department of the State Policy on Sanitary and Phytosanitary Measures, Head of the Department for Food Security and Accessible Products, Ministry of Agrarian Policy and Food of Ukraine. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that now we'll have consecutive interpretation.
Шановні пані і панове, я вітаю вас від Міністерства аграрної політики та продовольства, яке на сьогодні забезпечує виконання завдань і формує політику у сфері державної аграрної політики у сфері сільського господарства та з питань продовольчої безпеки України та до повноважень якої також віднесено формування політики у сфері органічного виробництва, маркування та обігу органічної продукції.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Ministry of Agrarian Policy and Food of Ukraine. Our ministry is in charge of forming and exercising the policy, the agrarian and food policy of Ukraine, as well as a policy in organic production, circulation and labeling of organic products.
Хочу коротко поінформувати учасників сьогоднішнього заходу про стан посівної кампанії в Україні.
I would like to inform briefly about the state of the sowing campaign of 2022 in Ukraine.
Незважаючи на воєнну агресію в Україні, посівна кампанія в Україні завершена на 99%, і за прогнозами в Україні має бути повне забезпечення внутрішнього споживання всіма ключовими сільськогосподарськими культурами на рівні 65 мільйонів тонн зернобобових та олійних.
The sowing campaign in Ukraine is completed to 99% in spite of the military aggression of the Russian Federation. According to the estimates, Ukraine should be fully ensured with the volume of all the key crops at the level of 65 million tons of cereals, legumes, and oil crops.
Експорт оцінюється зернових, зернобобових та олійних культур оцінюється на рівні 30 мільйонів тонн.
According to the estimates, the potential export will reach about 30 million tons of cereals, legumes, and oil crops.
Цього року відбулася певна реструктуризація змін із точки зору пріоритетності культур. Оцінювалося декілька факторів: це собівартість на гектар, можливість реалізації для внутрішніх потреб та на експорт, врожайність та її вартість.
This year there were certain changes in the priorities and the priority crops, and it was influenced by several factors, namely the production cost per hectare, the possibilities to sell the products for internal purposes, and as well as the crop yield per hectare and the cost per ton.
Хочу відзначити, що площі практично залишилися на рівні, посівні площі залишились практично на рівні 21-го року, ті, які можливо було засіяти.
I would like to highlight that the sown areas almost remained at the same level as in 2021.
Стосовно забезпечення продовольчої безпеки.
As for the food security,
Україна до збройної агресії Російської Федерації була гарантом продовольчої безпеки у багатьох країнах світу завдяки традиційно потужному продовольчому експорту. Внесок України до світового продовольчого ринку у 2021 році був еквівалентним забезпеченню харчуванням близько 400 мільйонів людей.
Before the military aggression of the Russian Federation, Ukraine guaranteed food security in many countries of the world, thanks to a powerful export of food export. And the contribution of Ukraine to the world food market in 2021 was equivalent to providing food for about 400 million people.
Україна входила до п'ятірки провідних світових експортерів зернових та зернобобових культур. За результатами 2020-2021 маркетингового року експорт зернових і зернобобових склав майже 45 мільйонів тонн. Це 16,6 мільйонів тонн пшениці та 23 мільйона тонн кукурудзи.
Ukraine is among top 5 world exporters of cereals and legumes. According to the 2020-2021 marketing year results, the export of cereals and legumes amounted to almost 45 million tons. In particular, about over 16 million tons of wheat and over 23 million tons of corn were exported.
У зв'язку із військовою агресією Російської Федерації в Україні відбулися порушення ланцюгів постачання продукції сільського господарства та харчових продуктів. Виникли значні проблеми з посівною кампанією у тих регіонах, де ведуться активні воєнні дії. Значно ускладнився експорт української продукції на зовнішні ринки через блокування портів України, оскільки це був основний транспорт, який доставляв продовольство у інші країни.
As a result of military aggression of the Russian Federation in Ukraine, the agricultural supply chains have been disrupted. The sowing campaign was also disrupted on those areas where there are active hostilities, namely in Kharkiv, Odessa, and Zaporizhia regions. The export of Ukrainian products is complicated due to the blockage of seaports, and this is a serious problem as the seaports is the main channel of export.
У реаліях воєнного часу урядом і міністерствами, які дотичні до забезпечення продовольчої безпеки в Україні, було здійснено ряд заходів для забезпечення населення України продовольством і недопущення гуманітарної кризи в тих районах, де припинено будь-яке виробництво продовольства для населення.
Under the martial law, the Ministry of Agriculture and the adjacent ministries took necessary measures to prevent humanitarian and food crisis on the areas where the food production has been seized.
Так, рішенням уряду, це постанова номер 328, на період воєнного часу передбачено забезпечення населення територіальних громад у регіонах, на території яких тривають активні бойові дії, продовольчими товарами тривалого зберігання безоплатно.
Thus, the Cabinet of Ministry, the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministry number 328 provides for that for the period of martial law, the population of those areas where the active hostilities are ongoing to provide food with long shelf life free of charge.
Відповідно до прогнозних розрахунків, виробництво груп продовольчих товарів основних у 2022 році порівняно з 2021 роком дещо знизиться, що враховує такі фактори, як окупація окремих територій України, які фактично не приймають участі у виробництві, мінування земель сільськогосподарського призначення, руйнація підприємств, об'єктів критичної інфраструктури, знищення основних фондів сільськогосподарських підприємств та підприємств харчової промисловості у областях, де ведуться активні воєнні дії.
According to the estimates, the production volume of certain product groups will be lower compared to 2021 due to the following factors, namely the occupation of some territories of Ukraine, which are not participating in agricultural production, the mining of lands, destruction of enterprises and critical infrastructure in those areas where the active hostilities are underway.
Хочу звернути увагу також, що розпорядженням Кабінету міністрів номер 327 затверджено план заходів забезпечення продовольчої безпеки в умовах воєнного часу, який передбачає комплекс заходів для того, щоб продовольча безпека не постраждала незалежно від тих обставин, які наразі склались в Україні.
I would like to highlight that the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine number 327 ensures the action plan to ensure food safety under the martial law. This guarantees preserving food securities in those areas all over Ukraine.
Щодо поточної ситуації на органічному ринку.
As for the current situation with the organic market.
Органічний сектор, як і вся аграрна промисловість, також потерпає від військових дій. Найбільша проблема багатьох регіонів – це доступ до землі, оскільки 30% земель або окуповані, які були сертифіковані як органічні, або окуповані, або заміновані.
The organic production is suffering the same as other areas, economic areas, and the biggest problem is access to land. It should be noted that about 30% of certified organic land is either occupied or mined.
Також, як і щодо всієї агропродовольчої продукції, існує проблема з експортом органічної продукції.
Same with the conventional agricultural products, there is a problem with the export of organic products.
Тому наразі урядом України здійснюються заходи для створення коридорів постачання продукції, у тому числі органічної, наземним транспортом.
Therefore, the government of Ukraine is taking efforts to provide the export channels for the organic products as well as for the conventional products using the road transport.
Надзвичайно важливим для експортування органічної продукції до Європейського Союзу є прийняте в цьому році Європейською комісією рішення. Нашу державу було виключено із списку країн органічна продукція, якої підлягає посиленим заходам контролю.
The important decision for the organic export was taken by the European Commission. Ukraine was excluded from the list of countries to which the special control on organic products is applied.
Важливим для органічного сектору також було рішення, яке ухвалено Кабінетом міністрів. Це внесення змін до переліку товарів експорт та імпорт, який підлягає ліцензуванню та квот на 2022 рік. Зокрема, позицію просу виключено із переліку, яким встановлено квоти на експорт. Це додаток 1, та додано в перелік, яким передбачається лише ліцензування на експорт.
The important decision for the organic sector was the decision of the Cabinet of Ministers as to amending the list of goods which the export and import of which is subject to licensing and quotas. In particular, millet was excluded from the list of products which require quotas for export, and it was added to the list on the list of products which are subject to licensing for export.
Міністерством аграрної політики та продовольства продовжується робота над удосконаленням органічного законодавства.
The ministry is continuing working on improving the organic legislation.
Та здійснюються необхідні заходи для того, щоб органічний сектор економіки розвивався динамічно, незважаючи на ті складні обставини, які склалися зараз в Україні.
And it is taking efforts to maintain dynamic development of the organic sector in spite of the difficult situation, of the current difficult situation.
На жаль, в цьому році всі програми підтримки сільськогосподарських виробників, які були визначені для Міністерства аграрної політики та продовольства, не працюють, оскільки необхідні кошти були передані до резервного фонду державного бюджету і направлені на військові цілі.
Unfortunately, the existing support programs for the organic sector were suspended, and the funds envisaged for these programs were redirected to other purposes, namely for the army and for the military protection.
Водночас наші партнери з німецького, швейцарського проєктів надають нам велику допомогу і не тільки в підготовці законодавчих новацій, але і фінансову підтримку для виробників органічної продукції. І ми надзвичайно вдячні за таку підтримку у важкий для України час.
Meanwhile, the German and Swiss International Technical Assistance Project are providing support to us in development of legislation, and they're providing financial support for the organic sector, which is really valuable at these difficult times, and we are really grateful for this support.
Дякую за увагу. Моя інформація вичерпана.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ludmila, for the update. I think this information is very useful and interesting for our foreign partners, and to be honest, hardly displayed in media abroad. We look forward to improvements in export logistics and other imported export components. Also today, we will discuss in detail the issues and possible solutions to problems related to the export of organic products during our panel discussions with representatives of Ukrainian and foreign companies. And now I would like to invite with the welcoming speech co-organizer of the conference, and I would say the ideological inspirer of the development of the organic sector in Ukraine, Torolf Richer, Senior Advisor, Swiss Ukrainian Programs, High Value Added Trade from the Organic and Dairy Sector in Ukraine and Organic Trade for Development in Eastern Europe, Research Institute of Organic Agriculture. Torolf, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrey. So, greetings from sunny Switzerland. My name is Torolf Richter. I work as a consultant for market development in the organic sectors in different countries. And I'm also working to develop the organic market sector in Ukraine for around 10 years. Actually in two programs, this is the mentioned QFDP program and the Organic Trade for Development program. The main target actually of all of my activities is to pave the way for organic producers in Ukraine to develop domestic or international markets. In this period, the last 10 years, I met around 100 of highly motivated organic producers from Ukraine, exporters, producers, service providers, and even many of them became friends of mine. So I'm really highly committed to the people who work passionately for the Ukrainian organic sector. So for me, it's not just a job, it's or assignment, it's really much more. So when Russia started with the war, I was probably even more shocked than others because I saw immediately hundreds of faces in my mind, and I was thinking, what will all these nice people do now, and how can we help them to survive personally and also economically? After 4 months of war, now it's time also to focus business affairs again. SECO, we have to be thankful. SECO is really greatly support Ukraine in this, both running programs, QFTP and Organic Trade for Development, also with an emergency fund. So really to keep the organic production and the trade of organic products going also during the wartime. Our task now is to look for and to develop technical solutions, how the organic products can be delivered to the international customers. So we have heard that actually seeding campaign was, despite of the war conditions, quite successful, but now we have still a lot of products in the storages, and we have still a lot of products on the field which have to be harvested within the next month. And we have to find smart solutions, how to find a way, despite of blocked harbors, limited capacities of trains and truck delivery. But you know, Ukraine is always well known for finding some innovative and also often unexpected solutions. Therefore, I'm certain that also in this difficult situation, suitable solutions will be found. When everyone on his hand or her side will contribute to finding such solutions, I'm really convinced that Ukrainian organic sector will continue to develop successfully. And therefore, also for this conference today, I wish a lot of success. I wish a lot of shared information. So I know that everyone on the Ukrainian side, but also on the international trader side, is really keen to get this information. Thank you.
Thank you, Torolf. Thank you for the great support you provide Ukrainian companies. Thank you for your work, and because of your work, the world learn more about Ukrainian products. And now I have the information that our Deputy Minister of Infrastructure will join us in a few minutes. But I would like to go to the presentations firstly, I think. So, just a second. So the first presentation will be mine. It's overview of the organic sector of Ukraine, government programs for sustainable business, sourcing opportunities of the Entrepreneurship and Export Promotion Office. And now I would like to share my screen. Just a second. I hope everyone sees it. So the topic of my presentation, trends and achievements of Ukrainian organic industries. And as a part of my speech, I will present you the basic information regarding the organic sector in Ukraine, the main analytical indicators and the benefits of working with the Ukrainian producers. I will also talk about the infrastructure of sector, main events and the governmental programs which are being presented by the government to help and support small and medium-sized business. So let's start. Firstly, why Ukraine? I think you heard a lot about it. And how did Ukraine become one of the top suppliers of organic producers on the world stage? And why is the sector's performance increasing during the last years? One of the main advantages of Ukraine is most fertile soil in Europe. So 33% of the world world's black soil is located in Ukraine. And the second one, and also the great advantage, is European Union neighborhood. Logistic proximity allows us to deliver products very quickly and at the same time. There are no problems with increasing the shelf life of the goods. And now European market is the priority for us because of the war with Russia. Geographic location also plays a huge role. Shipment by land, sea also, and air, fast development, warehouses, infrastructure. Then the high quality of the products and value for money also plays the huge role. The high quality is confirmed by international certification bodies. Openness and readiness for businesses. Ukrainian exporters are trusted partners for the already about 230 importing companies from Europe, North America, and Asia. And the last one, but not least, the trade openness. So 18 free trade agreements, including with the European Union, EFTA, United Kingdom, Canada, and Israel. And the Ukrainian government is working to develop and expand free trade zones also. The next slide. On the next slide, we see that today Ukraine has more than 400,500 hectares of land allocated for organic and in convention. And Ukraine is in top 5 countries of the world with the highest increase in organic land. Also, in regard with the national strategy of Ukraine until 2030, we would like officially set a target to increase our land. And it's planned that by 2030, Ukrainian organic land will reach 3% of the total area of agricultural lands of Ukraine. And also, it's a target to have an export volume raised to $1 billion US dollars by 2030. It's like 5 times higher than today's volume. The next, here you see the organic map of Ukraine. Unfortunately, some information could be presented not for 2021, but for example for 2020, since the war with Russia did not give us the opportunity to sum up the results of the 2021. On this slide, you see total areas of organic and in conventional lands divided by regions. Now, I would like to pay your attention that the southeastern part is occupied by Russia, as it was mentioned by Martineuk, the 30% of lands along the coast of the Sea of Azov, from the Crimea to Lugansk, which are highlighted in green on this slide. Also, I would like to say that our presentations will be shared with the participants, so you will see it in detail. The next slide shows us that the organic operators increasing in Ukraine, and as you see here, for the last years, the number of market operators has also grown. This means that the sector is developing, that there is a demand for the products, and mainly our partner is Europe. Within 4 years, the number of companies increased by almost 40%, and also the last year showed us the increasing of the operators. On this slide, you can see the main indicators. What is important to note that Ukraine is the main and top supplier of the organic products to the Europe within the European Union within the Europe, and number 4 in the world. So in 2020, Ukraine exported 332,000 tons of products worth 204 million US dollars. This is only the one of few sectors that grew by 8% in monetary terms during the pandemic, the COVID-19 in 2020. For example, the entire agro industry in Ukraine grew only by 2%. So on this slide, you can see the main directions of the organic export of Ukraine. The first one, of course, Europe, 33%. And It's worth noting that the factor of the trade war with Russia in 2014 and the war as a whole played a huge role. The Ukrainian companies started to diversify their markets, and the main market is European Union. Also, the second market is North America. We're talking about United States and Canada, and so on. So what you can source from Ukraine, here you can see the main products which are exported from Ukraine. This is cereals, oilseeds, soybeans, sunflower oil, fruits, berries, vegetables. And the majority of our Ukrainian producers are certified by the international standards. We have also in Ukraine our standard by the organic standard. So you could be sure about the quality of Ukrainian products. Now, a few words about the organic sector during the wartime. According to the survey of the Ukrainian operators in March 2020, the 30% of Ukrainian companies claimed to have suspended their businesses, within 15% being on the verge of it. Also, 32% operate partially and only 7 have no changes. And 15% of course, Ukrainian companies are giving their products to support our army and the Ukrainian refugees, internal refugees, I mean. Some of the operators are selling also the products at the price of conventional. It's a huge damage for the sector, I think, but it will survive, of course. And if we're talking about the June, at least 1/5 organic land under occupation also was mentioned. The Kherson and Zaporizhia region, as I shown you on the map, and 30% of organic operators suspended their activities, but 70% continue as organic. The situation is still changes. There will be updates. We analyze the information each month. Going on. Also, the main problems of the organic sector for today. The main problem is logistics, it's broken supply chain and the blocked seaports. So that is why our main market, export market for today is the Europe, because of the close logistics and like approximate low prices, because if we're talking about export to the Middle East or North America, it's quite expensive and not competitive for Ukrainian producers. At the same time, the sowing campaign is finished. The alternative logistics are being developed. The companies already started to export, and I think Ukrainian companies representatives will say more about it during the panel discussion. Also, the European Union has abolished import tariffs and quotas, and not only the European Union, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, as well as Canada. And those are the new opportunities for the Ukrainian producers. Infrastructure. So here you see the first is our institution, which has the main target to help small and medium-sized businesses in capacity building, in development, in finding new potential partners. That is why we are organizing these events. So the foreign potential partners could see that Ukrainian companies are still working, they still have export, and you can find Ukrainian companies as suppliers. The other organizations like Ukrainian Berry Association, Organic Ukraine, Organic Federation of Ukraine, those are associations which have the aim to lobby of organic sector interests, help Ukrainian companies to develop, to participate in international events. We have a certification by the organic standard. Also, thanks for the quality food trade program, organic trade for development in Eastern Europe program. We have an opportunity such this event to develop, to help Ukrainian companies to export, to find new markets, to analyze them. And thanks for those programs support, Ukrainian companies increase their opportunities in export. So a little bit about our institution. We were established in 2018 as a state institution under the Ministry of Economy. with the aim to help Ukrainian companies to export abroad. Now also we are responsible for the development of small and medium-sized businesses, and since 2021, together with the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, we are implementing the national project for the entrepreneurship and export development via business. By the QR code, you can read in English more information about us. Our areas of activities is the small and medium-sized businesses support. We are assisting to establish long-term cooperation between our companies and foreign companies. And also the main goal is to promote Ukraine and Ukrainian goods abroad. Also, at the end of the presentation, I'll see a few success stories of our participation at international exhibitions. Then, if you're talking about Ukrainian companies, we could help you to find reliable supply from Ukraine. By this QR code, you can scan and go through the Dear Business Export web portal and see in online format the profiles of Ukrainian companies. So we have a free of charge service. If any foreign partner looking for Ukrainian supplier, you could leave us a request, and we will screen the Ukrainian suppliers and provide the loan and short list with the contacts of Ukrainian suppliers. Also, we are checking all the companies, so they are verified by us, the state institution, and we are responsible for such information, for such data. This is how it works. So firstly, you just go to our website if you're looking for the company. We could have a teleconference, and then we are searching for the suitable supplier for you. And also we could organize a B2B meetings, because we understand that there is a cultural difference between different companies, different people, different nations. So we could help with that. And now I would like to show a few slides about what the government, Ukrainian government, is doing for Ukrainian small and medium-sized businesses during the war, and which are the programs. So the main activities are divided into the employment and to help internally displaced persons, to microfinance the veterans businesses, to help temporary relocation businesses, small and medium-sized, to the western regions of Ukraine. For example, by providing the loans and by the program 579% at 0%, because 579 is the name of the program. The credit programs and insurances to the exporters from the export credit agency also is quite important. Also, we have virtual centers and help for Ukrainian people, Ukrainian entrepreneurs, companies, small and medium-sized. We are our call center and chatbots. So any Ukrainian company could reach the help from our side. Also, I would like to say that we opened a month ago the offline center in Warsaw to help Ukrainian refugees and people who would like to restart their business in Europe as well. And now there is a plan to start on the United Kingdom market also. Here you can see the DA Business Export website by the link export.gov.ua. There you can find analytical information about Ukraine, the catalog I mentioned previously, all the updated news also about Ukraine in English, and of course the success stories of Ukrainian companies. So going on. Some information about our success stories, our events. Last year we had an international online event called Ukrainian Organic Export Days. It was an online conference with the B2B matchmaking. 71 organic producers were presented there, and this year we also wanted to have the same conference, the second one, but due to the war, I think that it will be impossible. But we would like to be presented on the international exhibitions during this year for the to finding new partners for Ukrainian companies. And here you can see by this QR code, you can download and see the catalog of Ukrainian exporters of organic products. Especially for this conference, we updated our database and Ukrainian companies which are still working and still do their export activities. So you can screenshot the QR code and see the profiles of Ukrainian companies with different products and the contact details information about the export managers representatives of the companies. So you can contact them directly if you would like to supply any products from Ukraine. This is up-to-date information provided especially for this event. There are more than 70 companies in this catalog. And also about success stories, we were presented at the BioFach exhibition, and also for the last few years. This year we will be presented too. In a few seconds, I will give the word to another speaker who will tell more about the National Pavilion at BioFach. And also in 2021, we were firstly presented at Middle East Organic and Natural exhibition, which was held in Dubai. This is all from my side. You can see the QR codes. And also a few words that this year will be presented not only at BioFach, but also the second time at the Middle East Organic and Natural exhibition, which will be held in December this year in Dubai. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrey. I would like to tell from my side also that Entrepreneurship and Export Promotion Office as a state institution has a very professional team. And Andrew and his team works really with all their soul and also with all professionalism and network, and they cooperate with really many different stakeholders, both with Ukrainian policymakers, with foreigner partners, and also with Ukrainian exporters. And I would like highly to invite you for cooperation with Entrepreneurship and Export Promotion Office. We have selected already the cooperation with them 2 years ago, and during all these 2 years, we are very happy within our cooperation. Thank you, Andrew, and to your team.
Thank you, Natalia, for your warm words. We are glad to cooperate also with you and to work with you because you have also highly professional team. And now I would like to, for the announcement of the Ukrainian National Pavilion at BioFach 2022 exhibition, I would like to give the floor to Alla Ponomarenko, business leader of the Organic Ukraine NGO's project name Organic Ukraine Business Hub for Export United Kingdom, and at the same time managing partner in the Alta Kraina Limited Liability Company. Alla, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Thank you to be invited to this event. I think it's very important in this not so easy time to be together and to share all experience and all ideas and solutions that we can implement now in our business and especially in organic export. Just one question. I want to. I don't think that I can open my presentation. It's something. Let me check again. So organizers, you have my presentation. So if you can share it, please share, because I cannot do it from my screen.
Okay, just a second.
I have a few minutes, a few seconds to tell more about myself. So yes, I'm managing partner for Alta Kraina company, and we export a lot from Ukraine. Our focus is berries, fruits, and juice concentrate. For last 10 years, we exported mainly to Europe market. But at the same time, I also member of non-government organization Organic Ukraine and member of export division of this organization. Today I will speak more about this organization and the project and interesting things that we do, that we're doing, that we did before, and our plans for future.
Ala,
Yes.
could you please try one more time? We give you the opportunity to share the presentation. No?
No, I didn't see it in.
Okay, we'll start. We'll share it.
Organic Ukraine, I think everybody knows about this organization, and it's a community of people that even think organically and work every day, do something to promote Ukrainian organic products all over in the world. And our export committee in Organic Ukraine, we create a strategy, organic strategy to promote our products. We check or discover what market could be interesting for Ukrainian products, what communication it's necessary to make with to the potential clients, what channels of sales the product it's better to do. So it's not just simple organization. It's yes. So you can select, you can check already second slide or even third. Yes, the next one, please. Yes. So in our Organic Ukraine, we have our export strategy, as I already told, and we made different projects in order to promote and to sell as much as possible organic products from Ukraine. Just a few words about some projects that we already made. It's social economy project. One of them, it was export cereal. It was Export Alliance, the group of companies from our Organic Ukraine that decided, or that United States market, it's very interesting for them. And in this project, we made few main points. Firstly, it's we check demand from the potential client, we check logistic, we check what rules or what condition for organic certification on this market, how to administrate your sales, your export to this market, and of course, what clients expect from suppliers, Ukrainian suppliers. So what business standard it's necessary to provide to promote in this market. Another project that we just finished, we just finished start of this project, is, if I want to say in this way, it's Umbrella brand. You see this, yes, on my slide, Umbrella brand. It's also unity of, if I'm not mistaken, about 20 companies that focus on UK market. So this project was made mainly for UK market. You know that we have a free trade agreement with United Kingdom market for recent 2 years. And also we try to understand how we can be competitive, how Ukrainian products could be competitive in this market, and what we have to do in order to be there and in order to make leading position on this market. Next slide, please. And as business leader of this project in Organic Ukraine, of course, I will tell you more about this this project. Why UK? It's I think it's simple to understand. Why Great Britain? And we consolidate in this under this umbrella brand. We consolidate different companies, different producers of organic products. It's starting from cereals and finished to just concentrate or berries. Of course, it's different kind of grain, oils, and etc. And was made a very detailed investigation of the market. First of all, you can change the slide. so our partners, they check the market. They very clearly give us what weakness and what strengths we can have in this market, what could be our very great and very strong position, and where we still it's not so efficient as we could be. Also, all the competitors for all of our companies that inside of this brand was checked, all of the competitors and the England, Great Britain market, that in order to understand, so okay, what this consumers already has and what we can offer to them. So why it's at this moment we made it mainly for Great Britain market, but also for Europe. But EU market, it's very well known for Ukrainian producers. But why it's Ukraine? Of course, it's free trade agreement. It's growing market for organic products. Great Britain is in number 8 or 9, if I'm not mistaken, in 10 biggest consumer of organic foods, organic products in the world. In the same time, domestic organic land, volume of domestic organic land in recent years is decreasing. At the same time, Ukraine at this moment, it's only take position number 57 of the trade partners, organic partners with UK, and I think that definitely we could sell and we could make more. And this market is really very potential for increasing our trade. I will not give you a lot of pictures, a lot of details, but if you want to ask me, of course, I will share you all detailed information about this investigation that was already made. And also I want to focus that one, as I'm from business, one of the most important things that we also try to understand, it's what it's business standard, what people from Great Britain expected from us. So how we can to be. So what they expected, trust, reliability, guarantees. So it's something that can select us from all other competitors from all other countries. And it's I think that now it's very important, especially for Ukraine and especially for this period of time that we currently have. So next, please, next slide. And of course, exhibition, as Andrey already told, that this year we will be in BioFach. This project or this exhibition, Organic Ukraine, it's taken place for 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, since 2019. And we have collective stand that also 20 or 16 companies from Ukraine, exporters from Ukraine, that wanted to be presented on European market and they want to be presented on the BioFach. They create this common stand. And it's also organized by export committee of Organic Ukraine. Next slide, please. This year, it will be even better than it was in previous, because we plan to make few very interesting events. So first of all, as I already told, that we made a very big and interesting project with the United Kingdom. We decided also to include all of the potential clients from Great Britain also to invite to our stand. So one of the day on the BioFach, it's the second day at the BioFach, 27th of July. It will be a day of United Kingdom. It's a Ukrainian National Pavilion at the BioFach. Also, beside of this, we will make a Day of Germany and a Day of United States. Again, we will invite all of the potential or existing clients from these countries that they can come meeting with our experts, understand what Ukraine can give or can sell now this year or in general, and it will be like a free zone for meetings, for communication, for share ideas, share our plans, and to speak personally. I invite all of the exporters, Ukrainian exporters, to our national pavilion, national stand. Now we are everybody meeting online, and I hope that our next meeting with all of you will be at our national stand in the Biofach. It's time when it's very important to meet with each other in person. It's time when our clients and our partners from abroad want to see us in person and want understand and feel that we are still alive, we can work, we can be the strongest, the best in our organic product and in our sales. Invite you to our national stand, of course, invite you to our umbrella brand, of course, all questions or all ideas, suggestions that you have or could have about this project, you can share with me. I will be very appreciated because I think that it's time to be together and it's time to implement and to make very great things. Next slide, please. And to finalize, it's the topic of our event. It's how a Ukrainian expert can move during the war. It was very famous driver of Formula One, Ayrton Senna, and in some days he said that when it's 15 drivers ahead of you and it's sunny weather and very good condition, it's very difficult to be the first because most probably nobody will make mistake. But when it rains and when there are really bad conditions and nobody doesn't know what to do, you have a chance to be the first. Because if you know how to move and how to be efficient in bad condition, it's definitely a story of success. We have a really very bad condition now in Ukraine. We had war, but if you look globally to the world, situation is not also so good. So inflation, terrible inflation, economic recession, decreasing of consumer possibility, all of this will have very strong impact to the economy and especially to the food industry, and to be honest, to the organic as well, because COVID is finished and people are not ready to spend a lot of money to the organic. They are now more focused or to the price or more try to be more economy. And for us, I think that it's very close to Ukrainian people, to Ukrainian business, to be efficient in bad condition. And I think now it's time to take this opportunity in turbulent markets and to take all of the theory, all of the investigation, all of the promotions that we already made and to implement it in practice. So let us all together meet in Biofach. It's really a very greatest event in organic food industry in all over the world, especially in Europe. So you can see that hall 4A stand 511. We are waiting you for every day for very interesting events. And also, if you want to be presented on the United Kingdom market, please contact with me and I will share all information about our umbrella brand. It's I think that's all. Yes, thank you very much for the attention. Thank you for this event, and also thank you, Andrey, for your presentation. Because again, as I am from business, but I use almost everything of the options that you promoted by your organization.
Thank you, Olaf. First of all, for your motivation speech. It's we needed today. Really, Ukrainian business and foreign partners should hear that. Also, thank you for the information about the United Kingdom market entrance. And for the information about National Pavilion at BioFac. From my side, I also encourage all importers, foreign buyers to visit our booth if you plan to visit the exhibition and meet personally with the representatives of Ukrainian companies. Also, I would like to draw your attention that the Ukrainian policy delegation will come to BioFac this year and will participate in different events of the Congress and working meetings. There will be the representative Minister of Economy of Ukraine, the Entrepreneurship and Export Promotion Office, and other official government servants. So I encourage you to visit our national pavilion and meet Ukrainian companies. And the last speaker in my part of the conference is Sergey Goloshevsky, the General Manager of the Organic Standard Certification Body. Sergey will tell us today about the control and main challenges of the organic export during the war. Sergey, are you with us? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrey. Hello, everyone. Just one second, I will try to share my presentation. Just a minute ago, I could do it. Okay. Yeah, I think it works.
Yes, we see.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for this possibility to speak about actually our part, our challenges in control and certification, especially during the war. I will do a little update what we had just before the war in terms of certification and standards. So we have actually our operators in Ukraine were certified according to different standards, depending of what market they were focused for. Of course, the main markets for Ukraine, as already Andrey said, it's Europe, European Union, and Switzerland, Great Britain. Main export quantities go there. And also we have quite a big share in export to North America. That's why we have here NMP standard and the core standard for Canadian market.
Sergey, sorry for interruption. Could you please turn on the full screen mode, because I see the PowerPoint and only the first slide.
Okay, just a second. Let me stop and share again. Screen. Yes. Now it works.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to let me this. Sometimes it's you need some time to establish. Okay, so as I said, main two directions for us, it's for our clients and in general for operators in Ukraine, probably correct to say it's Europe and North America. That's why we have such these standards for European regulation for core NOP, but also we have some other standards. We even have few operators for China market or some private standards like Naturland, Bioland, etc. And we have certification bodies accredited and recognized and authorized to do the certification according to the standards. Here you have, if you see the list of actually of 20 certification bodies that allow to do certification for according to European regulation, equivalent standard European regulation. We have first 10 here and then another 10. I will not go in details, just to update you, and you will have this presentation afterwards if you're interested in this kind of information. And we have 11 certification bodies that have that authorized to certify according to the either NOP or core, because both standards are fully equivalent, and having one of them, you can export your products to United States or to Canada, for example. And we have, I think it's 5 certification bodies, because we have also Switzerland as an important market for our exporters, according to the statistic. And there are 5 certification bodies authorized by specifically by BioSwiss, because it's a private standard, to control operators in Ukraine, so they can export the products to Switzerland according to BioSwiss. Then, with regard to our organic law in Ukraine, actually no big changes. We have this law, but it's not yet implemented. Unfortunately, we always face with some challenges. Before it was COVID challenges, now we have a war challenge, and this process is moving. Really, I feel it, but still not yet finished. But let's say I will stay optimistic about it. And now we go to the challenges. Because we already said a lot about challenges, and all of you understand that we have quite a lot of challenges actually. And the main challenge is logistic. I will go into details about this. I know many ask this information, and the problem is it's really something you cannot predict, and it's not. It's also changes. The situation change from month to month, and some other challenges. Challenges for us as certification body, and also for our exporters. It's access to laboratories, for example. It's stock on occupied territories. Some other challenges, I cannot say that they're minor, but comparing to logistic, maybe not so. It's about destroyed infrastructure or no international post-courier services, etc. But even despite all these challenges, I want to say that I'm quite proud about all our operators and exporters. All of them have had and still have this direct and indirect influence of the war. I mean, direct influence when your premises just simply destroyed by the missile, or when your premises or field just on occupied territory, and your harvest is robbed, and etc. This is quite direct influence, and in such circumstances, they can simply not continue their work. And unfortunately, some operators decided to stop because of that. Those who were in Kherson area, in the Zaporizhia area, and right now they don't know about what will be in future, if they will come back or not. And we have this indirect challenges in general because of economic situation in the country, instability, and all these things. But I want to say that my personal observation, what I can see now after actually almost 4 months since war started, that most of our organic operators that were already integrated into the market, into some supply chains, they had some obligations. They continue working. They try to keep the obligations. They try to produce and export, and that's why I said I'm very proud of our operators and our exporters in particular. Okay, let's go to the some examples. Just an example of the destroyed infrastructure, and I want to say this is a premise where we had 2 operators. They also are exporting operators, and it's not in the place where we had the front line or active battles. It's just south from Kyiv. It's just a missile, and Russia thinks our food infrastructure is also critical for them, so that's why they try to destroy it also. You can see the result of quite foreign. It was modern factory. Yeah, unfortunately, I will go through each of logistic channel, saying few words. We had and we still, not still have, but we had before the war, we had the deliveries by trucks, delivered by vessels, by railway, and airplanes, all types actually. Trucks. Actually, trucks was probably the most common way of delivery for our clients. We certified quite a big number of producers that export themselves, and they mostly used delivery by trucks. It's short-term delivery. It's mobile, quite mobile, from door to door. It's very practical. From other side, when war started, we have now many challenges because of also with delivery by trucks. Actually, all the logistic for Ukrainian, it's increased in the price very much, very significant. It's already said by my colleagues. And some specific problems, for instance, it's about availability of trucks, as more to the east as west availability. So our exporters, they need to bring products to the west, so they can have more chances to get transport. It's also about some destroyed infrastructure, roads, price for fuel, some checkpoints or block posts on the road, especially in the first months of the war. Now it's more or less okay, but first few months it was time of delivery increased in 2 times just in Ukraine. And also a challenge with drivers, men. Also first months it was quite a big challenge. And we try to compare period of the war from 21st of February until the end of May. So it's like 3 months is a little bit, and we compared with last year. So now we did this comparing, but we did it only for our clients, just to make it clear. Organic Standard control more than 100 exporters from Ukraine, and it's about 1/3 of all export from the country. And as I already said, our clients mostly used delivery by trucks. And you can see that you can see even here the result of it, that deliveries by trucks is decreased. It was 70% in the same time last year. Now it's 45%. But in terms of quantities, it's I believe it's still like 12 to 9 and 17 countries, same 17 countries. It's more optimistic taking into consideration the situation we have now. And the main problem, the main challenge for Ukraine, and it's already, it's all the sea ports of Ukraine are blocked. They either occupied or just like in Berdyansk or Mariupol or Kherson, but all just blocked with the Russian Navy, like Odessa or ports near Mykolaiv. And our clients also used delivery by sea vessels quite a lot. It's huge. It's big quantities. It's very practical for also long distances. And yeah, but now it's not possible. The only thing I want to mention that we have some river ports, like Reni Ismail. I will say more words later about it, which working, and our clients had access to these ports, and it was quite efficient. So when our ports blocked, still Ukrainian exporters, they had products already in ports, ready to be delivered, packed, yeah, and of course they couldn't do it. In Kherson, it's even worse because it's either it was already roped, or it's a big risk of to be roped. But let's be honest. In Odessa, as you can see, our clients and exporters in general in Ukraine, organic exporters, they start to find different ways of uncommon previously. But as it was said by somebody that this time pushes to think out of the box and to find new ways. Maybe they can be quite efficient in the future. I mean, in general, using quite wide possibilities for deliveries, and they start to bring, if they don't have access to seaports from Ukraine, they start to find access to from seaports in other countries. As example, it's Gdansk in Poland, it's Klaipėda in Lithuania, and it's Constanța in Romania. It's all working. Our clients used to bring products, especially from Odessa, this lots that were ready for delivery to these other places. But in general, using railways became more common. And I want to say about railway, it was actually not very popular way of transport due to some reasons. But you see, it was less than 10% in the same period last time. Now it's almost 30% of organic export. And it goes to many countries. So it's not only delivery from Port of Odessa, but also from other places. You can see the different countries, different ways in bulks, in big bags, also export of liquids. Yeah. And if to say a few words about it, actually railway replaced a little bit delivery by sea, by vessels. Of course, it cannot change. For sure, it's as efficiency, as the economy, as a cost, but still, good point that it started to develop, and I'm pretty sure that when war will finish, our clients will continue to use this way of delivery more and more. There are still some risks, like still shortage of wagons and complexity of Ukrainian railways, and it's not synchronized with European railways, but I think it's just a task to be done for future. And I believe it will be done. And I already mentioned about river ports. Actually, Port of Reni became very efficient. If you see, percentage also changed to 25, and it's more than 2 times increased. The export quantities using river ports, and especially you can see real pictures to delivery from Reni. We have some certified facilities there. It was used by many exporters, also exporters not certified by organic standard, and it's pretty good. Collaboration in times of war is very important. And with Port of Reni, you have access by river Danube to many European ports. So it was quite efficient, and I suggest to pay attention to their delivery. And we had some export by airplanes also because of war. It was, of course, it was not big quantities, but it was some niche products, it was some fresh products, it was some small amounts, some essential oils, etc. But of course, it's completely stopped since beginning of the war. Actually, right now, taking into account available logistic infrastructure, we are quite limited to deliver somewhere far from Europe. So Europe became the main destination in this challenging times. I already mentioned about risk of blocked lots on occupied territories. As I said, some of them already robbed. Some of them have quite high risk to be robbed in nearest future. And we see the map of occupied territory and also some active zone of active battles, and also you cannot do anything else. Okay. And I also wanted to say about some changes in regulations with regard to control in Ukraine and export in Ukraine, and it's something I really wanted to inform. First, since the beginning of the war, I'm actually very thankful to European Commission. They were quite reactive, very reactive, because I think it was 26th already of February when we got permission to not to send original certificate of inspections, but to just use electronic copies. And it's because we simply lost postal infrastructure, international postal infrastructure, and it was not possible just to send originals if they were produced in Ukraine. And we produced our certificate of inspection in Ukraine. So for us, it was very important. And again, it was European Commission was very reactive in this regard, and we very fast we got the letter. 26th, I think, of February. Then it was regulation from 8th of April with retrospective from beginning of the war. And another thing to be mentioned, the same reaction was from not the same, but another reaction was from United Kingdom. We because of the situation in Ukraine, any additional control measures for organic products from Ukraine were suspended. So it was just easier, a little bit easier for those who were exporting to United Kingdom. And since May, 11th of May, we also were informed that the European Commission excluded Ukraine from the list of countries for additional control measures until the end of the year at least. So it's also some less trade barriers for our exporters to bring the products to other markets. Some other things to be mentioned, it's about possibility to, it's more for certification bodies, possibility to do some remote audits, for instance, for bills with inspections or for Canadian organic regime. And even for, I think, for European regulation, we also have these possibilities due to force majeure situation. We can refer to force majeure. So, of course, we are certification body. We'll try our best to do inspection where we need, where we can do it, where we can do it physically. But there are some territories where we just simply can't do it. Also taking into account risks for our staff. I'm also talking about deoccupied territories or territories close to the border with Russia, with Belarus also. So we have a policy, risk assessment policy about it, and we try to diversify our physical inspections where we can really do it or we can't. And it's also already been mentioned with regard to some restrictions for export of some products from Ukrainian side. It was done taking into account national interest and national economy, of course, and consumption. But I must say that our Ministry of Agrarian Policy and Food is quite reactive. I didn't hear any claims with regard to licensing. You see the corn, for instance, wheat. So I didn't see any problems from our clients about it. From the other side, as already was mentioned, millet was banned for export some time ago, but organic market asked to have possibility to export this product, and it was good reaction from Ministry of Agrarian Policy. They put it to another section for licensing, and as I said already, it's no problem with this licensing to export our products to another markets. Another challenge we faced is access to laboratories. Usually we work with international laboratories outside of Ukraine, but we also have good laboratory in Ukraine. I believe it's Kotekne and Odessa, and since the war started, they didn't work. But I think in the end of March or beginning of April, I don't remember, they start to work again. So if you're looking for the laboratory service within Ukraine, it's available at least in Odessa. But also we find a way of collaboration with bringing sampling abroad, for instance, to laboratory in Lilac. So for certification body, it's quite important to know to have access to laboratories and have efficient access in terms of time. because sometimes we need to deliver green mass. And right now we have this possibility at least to work with 2 laboratories, and we also give this information to our clients. So it's I can suggest it. And nevertheless, I want to be a little bit optimistic in the end of my presentation. We're talking a lot about challenges, but still I try to be optimistic, and we try to analyze the data, just again, our clients and export of last year, and in the same time, and this year during the war period, starting from the 24th of February. And we see that in general, our clients exported more. I'm very happy about it. I just can't even imagine what would be the amount, what would they export if we would not have the war. It should be even better result, and because we still have a lot of blocked lots on occupied territory, as I said. But we can see that it's pretty good results, and it keeps me motivated about future of our organic sector and our exporters. As I said already, most of those who had just indirect influence of the war, they continue to work, and they continue to be integrated into supply chains. I will not go into details of this data. You can check it afterwards, but you can see in general amounts increased, and with regard to some products exported, soybean was a kind of a leader for this time, which is actually quite logic. But also some other products you can see information. Okay, thank you very much for attention. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Sergey. Thank you. It was really detailed and I think highly valuable information for our foreign partners, because such information you can find only internally on Ukrainian market in Ukrainian English. So thank you very much. And I want to remind you that we'll share the presentations of the speakers after the conference. And at this stage, I would like to hand over the moderation of the panel discussions to my colleague, Natalie Prokopchuk. Natalie, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Andrey. I would like to make a short introduction for our panel. So the panel will be about success stories of international trade during the war from the Ukrainian organic exporters, and to show the alternative logistics routes to different European countries. I would like to tell that we have very brave Ukrainian organic exporters, and they continue to work despite all challenges which were mentioned before by many speakers. They are hardworking and they are dedicated to organic. I think for this, I would applaud to them, to all Ukrainian organic exporters, from all of us, for their huge work and for their dedication to organic, and we kindly ask to continue. And also I would like to pass the message to our international partners. It's really very important to show solidarity with Ukrainian organic sector and continue to work with Ukrainian organic exporters, because in this time it's particularly needed. I think that if you would need any kind of information, suggestion, contacts, don't hesitate to contact. You received, I think, a lot of information today, and you will receive presentations and video recording, but also you will have access to all possible service providers who could suggest you how to do, what to do. But please, it's really important to continue to cooperate with Ukraine. Let me introduce speakers of the panel to you. Anastasia Bilic, the head of the marketing department, Arnica Organic. We are based in Poltava region. Andrey Yelsukov, commercial director of Agrofirma Pole, Cherkasy region. And Andrey Martineuk, commercial director of Lilac Ltd, Chernivtsi region. First of all, I would like to give the floor to Anastasia Bilic and to ask about experience of your company. And as maybe you've seen also the question in the chat. So to all exporters, I would like also to answer in your presentations to answer also this question. Can you give us advices and leads about clearance and transport companies to import from Ukraine? Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. Do you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay. Thank you, Natalia, for this insightful presentation. Thank you, dear colleagues, for inviting me, for inviting Arnika, and to present our experience in wartime. So before we had experience during COVID time and pandemic, and we thought that that's the worst that could be with the world. But now we see that war actually is the worst that could happen in the country, with the country, and with the whole world. But still, I want to assure you that organic sector and organic business of Ukraine is getting even more stronger and resilient. And in my presentation and in my speech, first of all, I would like to stress on the importance of the organic sector of Ukraine as a part of the national value chain created in agriculture. During the last, so maybe our foreign partners, they don't know this information, but I want to stress on this, that during the last 20 years since the beginning of organic business development in Ukraine, Ukraine has become one of the leading exporters of organic certified commodities to the EU. As of 2020, Ukraine gained position number 4 among other 123 countries that exported their organic products to the EU. Organic production for the whole country and for different national economies is the marker of healthy soils, of developed biodiversity and health policies. It's about intelligent farming and lean production. It's about green financing, and it's about regenerative practices on land. It's about carbon sequestration. It's about green economy. Organic production is about future that is created today in sphere of agriculture. But since the 24th of February, the organic sector, like the entire agriculture industry, like the entire country, has been suffering from unjustified and cynic war. Among general problems that already mentioned my colleagues that face the organic sector of Ukraine are the following: availability and access of main factors of production, mostly it's fuel and seeds. For, in our case, logistics and availability of grain storages prior to new harvest, access to land, namely in Kherson, Zaporizhia, Kharkiv, and Chernihiv regions. Fields are either occupied or mined. The fourth factor is inability to assess the damage caused in the occupied territories, like destructed production facilities, land damage, stolen grain, and other production resources. During the last war months, we as a company, Arnika, have faced different problems where the key word was absence. Absence of seeds, absence of enough fuel, absence of needed spare parts. But despite that, we finished the sowing campaign, and now we faced another problem. The key word is lack of shipment opportunities. During last years, we as a company developed different means of transportation that would be workable for our clients and us in terms of money and time. We delivered by trucks, by railway, by river and sea, in vessels and containers all over the world, to the US and Japan, to the EU and Middle East countries. But unfortunately, we now have faced the huge problem with export. The important is for us and for dozens of other organic exporters to fulfill obligations on front of all our international partners, not to lose established markets, not just to produce, but to ship goods in a proper quality and in the mentioned quantity. Besides that, export will help us to preserve businesses, to pay taxes, and to keep our teams. During last 3 months, we managed to export more than 2,000 tons of organic goods by railway, and still thousands of tons of goods are waiting in our warehouses to be shipped. So briefly about our current export opportunities and of organic certified goods and coming from our experience. trucks. Trucks, unfortunately, this opportunity is not workable in terms of money. This means of transportation has become too expensive and too time-consuming. The price per truck is too high. For instance, the truck to Switzerland went up to 5,500 euros from 2,700 euros. To Germany, the price went up 2 times as well, from 3,000 to 6,000 euro. But besides that, there are also other issues like the availability of trucks, the expectation time at borders, and availability of fuel and its price. All these make this mean of transportation not favorable at all, not for our partners, neither for us in terms of money and time. Railway, workable, but there are some troubles as well. Ukraine uses a rail gauge of 1,520 millimeters width. It's a broad gauge, while the EU standard gauge is 1,435 millimeters. This means that Ukrainian wagons cannot be used in most of the EU member states, and that goods have to be transshipped from wagons running on the wide gauge to ones on the EU standard gauge. The current transshipment capacity is by far insufficient and not adapted to operate substantial volumes of cargo. In addition, transshipment is time-consuming and requires special machinery. Besides that, organic producers from Ukraine sometimes are not able to use European warehouses for the purpose of transshipment. In order to use warehouses for organic purposes, the warehouse should be cleaned and washed. This could take up to 3-4 days, including survey to check the place. And even though all those services are paid by organic exporters, the owners of warehouses in the EU as well as in Ukraine are not willing to provide them. Instead, those warehouses are used just for conventional goods. And we understand the necessity and urgency of this matter, but anyway are asking for understanding and equal opportunities for all market players. In 2020, the general export to the EU from Ukraine reached almost 220,000 tons of organic cereals, soybeans, meal, corn, and other grains and beans. This volume should also be somehow delivered this year, but the lines are too busy to service organic exporters. River transportation. It's workable, but not in a sufficient way. There were several ports that we, as a company, worked with, including occupied Kherson and also Reni and Izmail in Odessa region. But because of substantial volumes of conventional goods needed to be exported, organic producers are not allowed to use terminals and shipment capacities in Reni and Izmail. Those terminals are subleased by big players that makes it impossible to use them for organic producers. And here I stand with Taras Kachka, who said that those capacities should be also in a separate line be provided for organic producers. And we will stand on this position with the ministry. So what is our vision? First of all, transshipment capacities. They should be provided also for organic producers, exporters separately. What should be done here? Alternative freight lines, transshipment and container capacities, as well as seaports capabilities should be actively explored in member states where there may be spare capacity, for example, in Baltic states, in Bulgaria, in Slovakia. Embassies of Ukraine in those member states could be in help to organic producers to inform them about available storages and transshipment capacities. Second of all, state support or guarantees from Ukraine to the EU transport companies and transport owners. Loading of EU standard gauge wagons can take place at both sides of the border, as the different gauges enter in some points up to 60 kilometers into the Ukrainian territory and vice versa. So the Ukrainian side should provide additional financial incentives, guarantees to EU wagon owners to enter the Ukrainian territory in order to cover the cost of damage, of possible damage, or loss of wagons and barges. And Ukrainian exporters should have the right to use those 60-kilometer zone as a transit territory for their shipments. And finally, the development of public-private partnership means that the Ukrainian side, together with international financial partners and institutions, should find any available funding and the most appropriate procurement procedures in order to support building or rebuilding or strengthening logistic infrastructure within Ukraine at the border, or at member states like Slovakia, Poland, Romania, Moldova, and other member states. And of course, we hope for the joint decision between Ukraine and member states within Solidarity Lane strategy that were developed by the EU. And if needed, we could collect ideas from the organic operators in one letter and address it to the relevant ministries. We need the support of ministries, we need the support of the EU. Business needs government, and government needs business. And that's just the right time to help each other in order to keep the economic front line. We also stay positive as a company about our future, about future of organic sector in Ukraine, about our international partnership. And we really thankful to all the partners who believe in Ukraine and who stand with Ukraine and work with Ukraine. We believe that Ukraine is and will become even stronger and more resilient after war. We ask our foreign partners to believe in Ukraine, to believe in organic Ukraine, and to stand with our country. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Anastasia. I'm fully sure that you provided such interesting and useful information that after this, really a big follow-up to be done from different sides. And you motivated our participants really not to sit or not to lie, but really to act and to cooperate and show their solidarity. It's very important.
Natalia, there is lots of work to be done, and that's just like the scale of work that we have to do together with your partners, together with your organic partners, and together with the whole world. So I urge our partners to be with Ukraine in this in these issues as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. Let me ask our next speaker, Andrey Yelsukov, to join us. He is a commercial director of Agrofirma Pole from Cherkasy. Internally, we call your company like organic millet champion. Please, so Andrew, the floor is yours.
Hello, Natalia. Greetings to everybody from Cherkasy, Ukraine. And actually, so we call ourselves internally like Millet King. And actually, so this name was given to us during BioFach in India in 2017. Okay, as you introduced us, we are the biggest producer of half millet, organic and conventional. So, but if we speak today only about organic, so let us focus on organic and what we did during the last 4 months. So each year we produce around 3,000 metric tons of organic half millet. And I want to say that the war actually started not on 24th of February 2022, but in 2014. And because of this, starting from that time, we were already supplying organic half millet to EU market. Some of our customers were worried about this situation starting from 2014. And so they were not that eager to sign long contracts with us, just some spot orders. And that is why we made a decision in 2016 to establish a Polish company called Biopole, which is also certified organic, and it has warehouses in Katowice. It is in the southwestern part of Poland, and it has warehouses certified organic. And we started changing the delivery conditions to our EU customers to DDP conditions, delivery and duty paid, for them just not to have any headache with logistics, customs clearance. So we did all this for them starting from 2016. So our EU customers who take 85% of all the sales of Agrofirma Pole are used to receiving goods on DDP conditions. And we usually, not usually, but we deliver our product by trucks because it is a food product. It is packed in 25 kg paper bags or big bags. So we used trucks to deliver to our customers before war, and so after 24th of February, it was the same. For sure, there were problems in March when nobody knew what is going on, and there was no possibility to export due to men were not allowed, truck drivers were not allowed to leave Ukraine. But nevertheless, we always keep some stock in Poland, and that is why our customers received their goods as planned, as to the schedules throughout March. And starting from April, we started exporting again from Ukraine. So, and yes, the cost for logistics are very high. And so to some directions, it is 2 times. And for example, for Poland, it is 2.5 times higher. But nevertheless, we executed all the contracts we had. Some of our partners, I can say that they are partners because they helped us in some way with logistics costs, so which is highly appreciated from their side. And so how we do? We import all the goods to Poland because it is easier to find trucks to Poland. We unload goods, customs clear them, and then we look for EU transport and we deliver to Germany, Austria, France, and throughout the whole EU by trucks, by EU trucks. We also, during the last years, we made big efforts to enter a North American market. And for today, it takes up to 15% of all our sales of organic half millets, and this is the United States and Canada. And here we really see problems because the goods must be loaded here in Ukraine in containers and only. And so this is a problem. There were problems before the 24th of February with shipments to North America, but for today it is much more difficult, and in terms of pricing and in terms of everything. So we also made export in April. We made export to Malaysia by railroad. So containers were loaded at our premises, and they are just now on the way to Gdansk, and they will be delivered to Malaysia by containers. So what we are doing from our side, we see that there is still a problem with trucks, with finding trucks. But before the war, we already started investing into our own truck fleet. For today, we have 2 trucks that bring our goods from our warehouse in Cherkasy to Poland. We see that we need to continue investing into trucking, so we will purchase additional trucks, not to be dependent on transportation companies. And what is also very important is for sure the shelf life. We speak about the shipments by containers, not only by containers, by bringing to Poland. And starting from 1 year ago, we invested, we started a new project and invested a lot into the new processing line for hydrothermal treatment of half millet organic to prolong its shelf life. Just for now, it is our product has 12 months, which is not enough, especially when we speak about North America, because it can take up to 3 to 4 months to deliver the goods to the US market. And that is why we invested into this project to stabilize millet, for it not to be rancid, to have a longer shelf life, and we will declare from 18 to 24 months shelf life. So speaking about, we hear from some sources that some customers are cautious whether we will be able to export from the new crop, whether we will have the raw material. And I must say that the farmers from whom we buy organic millet is raw material allocated in Odessa and Poltava region mainly. So they were not affected. We see that there will be enough raw material. And so we do not see that there will be ban for exporting millet or half millet, because we see the total area under millet, conventional and organic both, it is pretty good. It will be enough for internal market. And that is why we do not predict that there will be some bans for exporting of half millet, organic or conventional from Ukraine. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrey. We have a question in the chat for you. Where in Poland is your warehouse? Country Life, your former customer.
Our warehouse is at the same place. Okay. So previously we have one more company, but which is now not that much operating. It was Organické Pole located in Czech Republic, the home country of Country Life. And just for now, we use only one warehouse in Katowice. It is very close to Czech Republic. So Country Life, please contact us, and we have product in stock. So our customers can take it from our warehouse, or we can organize delivery. So, and during one more figure, during these 4 months, 1 month we were not exporting, but during April, May, and June, we exported 1,000 metric tons of organic halved millet. And I guess it is quite big quantity for a processed product. So we are exporting like from 5 to 10 trucks per week. Our production is operating in full. And just now we are preparing for the new season. So we are positive, and we want our customers also to be positive. Everything will be okay.
Thank you very much, Andrey. Let me ask another speaker to join our event, Andrey Martineuk, Commercial Director of Lilac Ltd. From Chernivtsi region. Andrey, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Thank you for the opportunity to participate and to share our experiments at this time. What we did, what we do. You know, my name is Andrew. I am responsible for foreign trade activity in my company. Company called Lilac and located in Chernivtsi region. We are producer of organic beard sap in glass bottle. Work in the beverage market 20 years, of which 12 years supply our organic products to foreign market. The main our foreign market are Poland, Romania, Czech Republic, Germany, and France. Before COVID-19, we had much wider supply geography. There was the USA, Canada, Great Britain, China, Australia market. Unfortunately, COVID-19 destroyed the logistic chains. The cost of logistics increased a lot and we stopped activity in this market. When began the invasion on 24, we were shocked. The first decision we approved about how to arrange remote workspace for employees who can do it remotely. I remember we had to schedule shipment to Poland for the day. I talked with manager of transport company and we decided to put off the business for a while for the safety of drivers. So the first problem we faced, it was the problem of logistics and shipping our products. The following problems came.
Andrew, I'm very sorry, Andrew. Sorry for interruption. If it's possible, could you please show your video, if you don't mind?
Video?
Because we cannot see you.
Yes.
Oh, great! Now we see you. It's much better. Thank you so much. Excuse me for interruption.
So the first problem we faced, it was the problem of logistics and shipping our products. The following problems came fast. No full restriction of departure for the men drivers from 18 to 60 years. All these led to a huge shortage of vehicles which can work and cross the border. But we found a solution for this problem. In most cases, we cooperate with the small transport companies and build strong and reliable cooperation. The transport companies had a couple of drivers 60 plus, and I have to say the demand for them was huge, really huge. We changed the working schedule and did it flexible. We were able to work 24 hours per day, load the trucks in overtime, worked on Saturdays, Sundays, do custom clearance in this time. We reduce customs and unloading, loading works to maximum 2 hours, regardless of the day or time. Also, we talk with partners, and we agreed that the trucks should be cleared and unloaded on the same time of arrival. This reduced time in the way of the trucks and allowed to plan clear schedule for transport company. This was appreciated by transport company. As a result, we had the transport. The problem has gone partly. Now we have in new, this is a huge traffic jams line at the border. The truck needs about 5-6 days to cross the border. It's terrible. Logistics matters. Anastasia said about huge logistic cost. I can share with you, now we pay $1,400 to Poland in hryvnia, 42-45 hryvnia, 1,000 hryvnia to Poland, and about 60,000 hryvnia to Czech Republic. And in our case, logistic costs increased only about 40%. At the same time, we faced the problem of essence material from eastern region Ukraine. Significant of them was absent of a glass bottle. Our main supplier, Piskivka Glass Factory, is located in Kyiv region and was under occupation at that time. We can change the supplier in a short time because each equipment is adapted to a specific type of packaging or bottles. We refocused material supplying where it was possible. In the same time, we kept in touch with Piskivka Glass Factory. Unfortunately, due to the specific of the technological process, Piskivka factory will not work in this year and need significant funds for reconstruction. The glass furnaces were stopped to avoid explosion, and glass cooled and hardened in them. We shared our plans and vision with managing glass factory, and as we the main buyer glass bottle and agree working in the future, we paid all debt to Piskivka. I have to say many businesses in that time stopped paying debts. We had negative experience with Ukrainian chain too. Now we work with Piskivka and get a glass bottle from surviving warehouses in the first time out of turn. The problem was solved. What I can say more, the price of materials gone to the star. We decided to raise the price of our products partially. Our main goal is keep the team, keep the customers, and have the opportunities continue our business in the future. When we didn't have glass bottle 1 liter, we started to produce canned meat for the military. We didn't stop no 1 working days. We hired internally displaced residents of Ukraine. And as I said before, we are producer of birch sap. The harvesting season starts once a year in March, April. This year, the season started on 15th March. There were many problems, snowfall, absence of packaging materials, logistics. There were attempts to take our trucks to the army. We explained that it would cause a damage to 60 hours employees who could lose their job for a year. In the end, we harvested about 50% what we planned, and we think we did well harvesting season based on that terms. We works, and we need only victory.
Thank you very much, Andrey. It's very important that all of you are staying positive and optimistic and are willing to continue your work, your important work, both for Ukraine and also for international partners. I would like, because of the time limits, to tell to the audience that we have received some questions from you in your registration form. And some of them were already covered by different speakers of our event. But if we saw when we analyzed the event that some of them were still not answered, you will receive the follow-up materials, and we will include that information, because our speakers were stick to the time and they could make the presentations only at the time which was agreed before. I would like to wish to our panelists, organic exporters, all the best in continuing their important work and organic export activities. And as you saw, help each other, cooperate, keep team and customers, and find new partners. It's really very nice solutions which were done by Ukrainian organic exporters, which were presented at the panel discussion today. But you also need to understand that we have many other stories, and they are all unique, but we all need really to have joint understanding that it's really important now to cooperate and to unite us under solidarity with Ukrainian organic sector. Thank you so much for Ukrainian exporters. And now we will go to the next panel discussion. And I'm very glad to start it. So we will talk now about success stories and cooperation with the Ukrainian organic exporters from foreign buyers. We have just heard the information from Ukrainian organic exporters side, and now we will see information from importers. Let me introduce you Amos Ramzauer, head of bioproteins for choice and sales, agri-protein from Germany. Amos. Next speaker will be Stefan Felder, Managing Director of FFM Europe. They have offices in Netherlands and Switzerland and Canada. We will also have his colleague Oleg Maksak, representative in procurement and sales. In our panel discussion also we will have Thomas Zaug Heffeli from Trader Agrocommerz AG from Switzerland. And then we will have short question and answer session. Amos, you're a long-term friend of Ukraine, and we are very happy to see you here with us. The floor is yours. Amos, unfortunately, we cannot hear you yet. Could you please check your microphone? Unfortunately, we cannot hear you. No, maybe without headsets. Unfortunately, we can only see that you are talking, but cannot hear anything. Could you try again? Maybe try to reconnect. And while you're reconnecting, we will ask the next speaker to have their presentation, and then we will welcome again Amos. let me ask to have a presentation from Stefan Felder and Oleg Maksak from FFM Europe company. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Am I already online? Do you hear me? Okay, Oleg,
yes, we can hear you well.
Just start the presentation. So, does it work, Oleg?
One moment.
So I'm doing this presentation together with my colleague, Oleg Maksak. First of all, I would like to thank you for organizing this conference and also inviting FFM to give a short presentation. It is a pleasure for us to make especially a contribution to the topic of success stories, because I really think that we could, that we saw a very nice development over the last years in Ukraine. Our presentation, as I said, will be done by Oleg and myself. I will start with a short introduction, and then I will pass on to Oleg, who is our business partner in Ukraine, responsible for the sourcing. So next slide. We will, as you see here, we are present in a lot of different markets. We have offices at various places all over the world. The main offices are in Canada, where the group, the FFM group, is based. And then we also have an office in Switzerland, and our legal office for the European business is in Amsterdam. Over the last 20 years of successful activity, we have opened offices in various parts of the world, including Ukraine in 2015. Here you can see our main sources of organic raw materials, among which Ukraine has become more and more important over the last years. It's also to be said that the reasons are mainly for this increasing importance of Ukraine are the improved quality and competitiveness of the Ukrainian producers. All the more, we are now affected by this difficult situation with the delivery difficulties from Ukraine. The values and vision of the company are implemented in detailed business processes that meet all generally accepted principles of organic production and trading. This allows us to import proven organic products from Ukraine, from selected and reliable growers and processors, or simply put, I could say, to ensure organic integrity along the whole supply chain. You're seeing here with our long-term partnership with customers is the basis of a reliable procurement business, including from Ukraine. And now, next slide, here you see that we are basically working with all positions in the line of organic raw materials and processed products. And now I would like to pass on the word to Oleg, who is doing a tremendous job under these difficult circumstances at the moment. And just, I would also be clear on that here, that the FFM is doing everything to remain a reliable partner for the Ukrainian exporters. And that's why I really enjoy to see that you are organizing this conference today in order to make sure that we can cope with the present challenges. Please, Oleg.
Thank you, Stefan. First, we want to express our admiration for the Ukrainian soldiers who heroically defend Ukraine and the entire civilized world from Putin's paranoia, and also to express compassion to the millions of peaceful Ukrainians who somehow suffered from this war. We would like to offer our vision of the situation in the Ukrainian organic agribusiness through the elements of a generally accepted SWOT analysis. Strengths, as we see them: reliability and the competence of most Ukrainian organic producers, Ukrainian products quality and large volumes, resilience, optimism, and flexibility of Ukrainians in changing their business style during the war. Reliable and flexible operation of the national CB organic standard. Weaknesses as we see them, uncertainty in the nearest military, political, and economic future, sharp rise in production costs, lack of fuel after Russian destruction of Ukrainians' oil refineries, difficulties and delays in the CB's inspections. We look forward to a flexible acceleration of bureaucratic procedures and as demonstrated by the organic standard. Opportunities in the global market, food shortages and high price trends, support and assistance from national governments and international organizations, which should be fully used by Ukrainian exporters. Threats as everyone sees it. Destruction or blocking of transport infrastructure in Ukraine. About 30% of the infrastructure is destroyed according to yesterday's statement by the government of Ukraine. Transport shortage and collapse of transport flows in Poland and Romania. A sharp increase in logistic costs. The cost of the delivery by trucks increased by 2 to 3 times. The cost of the shipping by 20-feet containers from Ukraine to Canada has increased from 4,200 USD last summer to 15,000 now. The threat not to empty growers' warehouses before the new harvest. This analysis is not complete and comprehensive in the tragic situation in which Ukraine is now. However, we can draw some conclusions directly related to the subject of our discussions today. The problem is available logistics and the problem of the risk of force majeure due to the war are the main ones now. Even the cost of freight increased by 3 times does not solve the issue of transport deficit. The primary choice for producers today is to sell cheaper but faster, or sell at a higher price but risk not getting an efficient transport solution. Each producer will make their own decision in their risk assessment. Our task is to make possible the previously impossible in terms of finding logistical solutions and providing support to our Ukrainian partners. We are already using new, atypical for Ukraine, logistic options. We also appreciate the efforts of Ukrainian standards and other certification bodies for their flexible position in the difficult task of changing approaches in time of war and staying true to the principles of organic production and control. Thank you for your attention, and there is now contact information. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your analysis and for your presentation. And I would like also to tell that I know Oleg for many years already. He worked earlier as organic exporter, and now he works on another side of the trade. And I'm very happy that you're with us. And we see that impossible is possible. And we think that these statements from importers are really important for Ukrainian exporters. We are together, we need to work hard, as it was said by previous speakers as well. So keep this spirit and be together for overjumping all the challenges which Ukraine has now. Thank you so much for your company. Let me ask the next speaker to join us. Maybe Amos Ramzauer has already opportunity to have.
So, do you hear me now?
To have his speech, Amos.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you very, very little. Could you make a little bit louder?
Yeah, I try.
As much as possible, then we would hear you.
Better. No better?
Now is better, yes. If it's maximum, that's great. May I ask my team also to first to ask Oleg not to share his screen anymore?
Ah, okay.
Thank you so much for FFM company. And now we would like, thank you. And now we would like to welcome Amos Ramsauer, head of bioproteins, purchase and sale, agri-protein from Germany. The floor is yours, Amos.
Okay. You see already my my screen?
Not yet. We see you.
Yeah.
We see that you have very
okay.
nice weather, very nice flowers.
Yeah.
It inspires us. And now we hope that we will see your screen as well.
I'm just.
We can see that it's in the process. Yes. And now please on the full screen.
Okay.
Could you make a full screen, please? Because now we see small slides on the left and also the big slide in the center. Maybe to click F5 if it works, or just this button which helps to put the screen in its full scale.
Do you see it now better?
We see still not full screen. Maybe you can go down to the scale panel.
Yeah, I just.
And then you can click the button there to have the full screen. Or just try to click F5 if it works on your computer. Sorry for technical problems.
Yeah, some technical issues. It is not that necessary to use my presentation. I can not to waste the time. I can speak free without presentation.
Amos, our colleagues from organizing team have shared your presentation,
great.
And now you can follow your slides. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much for inviting me. For me, it's a great pleasure to see and to hear all of you. As Natalia, you already mentioned, I'm personally connected with Ukraine since 2011. So it's a long time. And my company I'm working for, company Agri-Protein, is working together with Ukrainian supplier since 2015. So it's a long time of cooperation. So please, next slide. Just will introduce company Agri-Protein. Could you go to the next slide, please? Okay, I will just present Agri-Protein, what we are doing. We are working in 3 business areas. The main important, in particular for our cooperation with Ukraine, is that we are running 2 processing sites for organic soya in Germany. We are processing soya for oil and for cake. Both are very good located on Midland Channel, accessible by barges, by train, and by trucks. The other business area is raw material trading with grains, pulses, other oil seeds, and also sunflower cakes. We still have done in the past, and we are continuing even under war situation. And the third part of our activities is product and process development. In particular, we are searching together with a consortium of other European companies for a hexane-free extraction, which could be even permitted in organic. So this is a future activity, but I would just mention here to see that we are not doing only troubleshooting, also doing something for future development. So please, next slide. I just want to explain a little bit about our experience with imports from Ukraine before the war. As already mentioned, we are doing as agri-protein imports from Ukraine since 2015. The logistics have been difficult even before war. So we have often changed our logistical schemes. We are importing up to 15,000 tons of organic soya per year only from Ukraine. And the scheme with trucks, with convoys of trucks have been always difficult, and it is always something we don't like too much because also of environmental and CO2 footstep reasons. Therefore, we have tried a lot of different schemes, such as intermodal transport with containers by railway, truck, such as bringing products in bulk to Klaipeda, loading there on vessel, bringing the vessel to Bremen, transloading once again to barges. So a lot of different schemes, and we are expecting that even in a new situation, we need to try always new schemes to improve logistics. We had also in the past some partial problems with opportunistic behavior coming from some suppliers, not all of them, of course, only some, due to rising market prices. So we failed sometimes by receiving the contracted volumes, and this has been an issue in the past, and it brings us to the situation to select really reliable partners where we don't need to expect this kind of behavior. I want to mention it because it is also necessary to describe the full picture, which is in principle very good and very satisfying. But part of this story was not not nice at all. So it needs to be mentioned as well. But across all supplier relationships, we recognized a clear improvement of professional attitudes and a lot of effort from exporter side to solve together problems. And before the war starts, of course, we have looked forward to an increasing cooperation with Ukraine. But now the war has started in February, and we have a total new situation. I just want to explain to you our experience since February. So please go to the next slide. As the speakers before already mentioned, we have a significant difficult situation of logistics by increasing the costs, by non-availability of trucks. To give you an example, we are still waiting for a volume of circa 400 tons of organic soya loaded 3 weeks ago on railway cars, railway wagons, with the idea to bring these railway wagons to Poland to transload them. But these railway wagons are still in a queue on Ukrainian-Polish border. Another example, we are trying to load trucks in the eastern part of Chernihiv region, and since 3 weeks, we were not able to get only one single truck. So it's really difficult. I just want to add another aspect. Our insurance company has cancelled direct after beginning of the war, the insurance covering for transports loaded from Ukraine. So even if we are switching from DAP terms to FCA terms, we need to consider that transport are not insured in the moment. So it is an additional risks. In the same time, our European Union introduced a new regime for imports from any third countries. Sergei Galashevsky informed already a little bit about this, and I guess that we will hear later today some other new aspects from GFRS. But in Germany, the situation is like this, that for all third country imports, now the state authorities are competent to release the certificate of inspections in traces. And some of them were really not well prepared on this job, and it comes together to the difficult situation from Ukraine. And at the same time, most of the authorities are not very clear how to deal with the so-called guideline on imports from so-called risky countries, which has been expired in December 2021. Some authorities are insisting that the requirements of this guideline shall be used. Others are not looking for this, so it is also a not very clear situation at all. Of course, coming from the past, we made some larger financial advance prepayments to Ukrainian suppliers, and due to the situation of logistic gaps, we still waiting for either receiving our money back or receiving the goods. Currently, it is not allowed to send money from Ukraine to European Union countries. So it is also a risky situation because of our engagement we did already in the past. Last but not least, I want to mention that also from our side, if we are doing payments from Germany to Ukraine due to the so-called embargo checks, which are really extended, and we need to answer for each payment these questions coming from our banks. Also, the payment we are doing are in delay. Often it's only after couple of days we are receiving the request coming from our bank. We need to answer a lot of questions regarding our suppliers until the bank is ready to release the payment from Germany to Ukraine. Okay, next slide, please. I just want to mention something about the challenges. Beside the organic market, we see the high volatility in the conventional markets, and the conventional markets are influencing more and more the organic market. In the past, it was not like this, but now we have sometimes the situation that conventional price is even higher than the organic one. It's sometimes a crazy situation. Then, of course, we need to expect negative developments on the final consumer markets as result of the inflation, as the result that end consumers will decrease their consumption of organic products because of increasing prices for housing, for energy, for fuel, and so on. Because of this, the volume has already decreased from our clients, and some organic livestock farmers have not filled their stables with animals, with young animals. So, in particular, in the feed demand of feedstuff, we see already now a decreasement of the volumes. Besides this, the European Commission decides to allow again to use up to 5% conventional ingredients in or protein-containing ingredients for compound feed rations, and it has also an impact. This permission will terminate by end of the year, but I see already now that the availability of organic proteins such as soy cake, such as sunflower cake, is already on the level before the war has started. So yes, it would be good to evaluate this new regulation, or with empowering the old regulation before end of the year, because otherwise, yes, we have a situation that even proteins can't be brought in the to the market due to this new 5% allowance. Yes, we as processor made in the past very long-term contracts with our suppliers, but also with our clients. Now we see the situation that we can't do long-term contracts anymore. We need to do our purchasing contracts and also our selling contracts step by step in smaller volumes, smaller time periods on the one side. The other side, of course, we want to continue with our long-term cooperation with our suppliers, in particular with our Ukrainian suppliers, but also with our clients. And this is not very easy to bring this together, this more short-term business, and on the one hand we are forced to do so, and on the other hand also to stabilize relationship. Please, next slide. I just want to give you my outlook. We need to develop a mutual understanding of requirements and limits on both sides, on exporters and importers and processors side. That's very important. We need to continue with our long-term relationship. This is something we really want to do, in particular with our Ukrainian partners. And this means we need to communicate more frequently and comprehensively, even if the conditions for communication are not that favorable in Ukraine. I'm often not very sure how the situation of my partners is, if they are ready to communicate, if they are in a safe situation, but even under the war situation, or particular under the war situation, we need to communicate more often. That's quite important. Now I will come to my last slide. My conclusion is that it could be our contribution as importers to stabilize the situation in Ukraine by continuing the imports from Ukraine, even if it is difficult and sometimes a little bit exhausting, and we need to take care for a lot of additional small details. It should be our contribution as Western European partners for Ukraine. On the other hand, it is still a business, and we need to understand our cooperation as business with all these chances and limits. We need to consider from our side as clients, and we need to consider also from Ukrainian side. And yes, this will be the work we need to do for the future, our improvement on the situation. In principle, I'm looking forward very optimistic. A crisis is always a chance, and I think it is a chance to grow together. And for this, I want to thank you for your attention, and want to say also from my side, long live Ukraine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amos. Thank you for your motivation at the end and for your all information which you provided, which describes your experience. I would like to ask for some apologies from the next speakers, but we have a breaking news. So maybe somebody of you have heard already, somebody not. So European Parliament adopts a resolution in support of granting Ukraine and Moldova candidate status. And this is very important news for the whole Ukraine and also for European Union, which showed its hugs to Ukraine in this very difficult time. And based on this breaking news, I would like to ask Elena Paniki to join us and to be a speaker now. And again, sorry for our importers, because Ms. Elena Paniki, she has very limited time, and only during this time she could have her short presentation, and then we will ask kindly you to have your presentations. So let me introduce Elena Paniki. She is the head of the unit Organics from DG Agri, European Commission, and she will talk about imports from Ukraine and what actions the European Commission took since the war started. Elena, the floor is yours.
Yes, I'm connecting. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, just cannot yet see you.
Okay, try to see, allow. Wait a sec, it should work now. Start video. Okay. Ha.
Yes, great. We can see you and Eurolive.
Okay, perfect. So I don't see myself, which is very good, but I hope it's the right camera. So are you going to share the presentation, or shall I do it by side?
If maybe it will be more comfortable for you that if you share the presentation and you can follow your voice with the slides clicking.
Exactly. That's
Thank you so much.
1 second, because after so many how you say meetings, I still am not really very good in using all these tools after so many years of PowerPoint presentation shared in all the kind of. Okay, there we go. Wait, I just recuperate you online and I share the screen. Share. Sorry, I'm a bit slow, but it comes. It's not coming. Entire screen. Share. Okay. No. That's done.
We can see your presentation on the screen.
Okay, so it's going to be very brief, and I thank you very much for inserting me at this moment. It's a bit of a weird period. I'm going to give a very short presentation on organics in general, and what we did to, as you said, to smoothen the trade between Ukraine and EU right after the 23rd of February. As you know, Ukraine is a huge trade partner for us. We import a lot. What we do, how do we import from Ukraine? We have more than 20 control authorities and control bodies which are recognized for the certification of organic products coming from Ukraine. All the product category are covered, be it from one control body or the other. And all these control bodies, just for your knowledge, are recapped in Regulation 2021-23-25, which is our regulation that norms the list of authorities, bodies and authorities that are authorized for the imports of organic products into the EU. As I said, Ukraine is a huge trade partner for us, import partners. It's the fourth largest import partners in the EU, and what we import are of course commodities basically. So in the last 3 years we have imported quantities that were 2018 it was 262,000 tons of products, in 2019 282 tons of product, and in 2020 we registered a slight decrease of 217 tons of products. Unfortunately, I still do not have data referring to 2021, which are being elaborated by colleagues, but in a few weeks you will have a complete overview, and all the data will be available also on our website. So if you want to go a bit more in depth into the analysis of the product. So as I said, we import mainly commodities, and which represent almost, well, I would say, more than 2/3 of the total imports, and cereals other than wheat and rice in particular, and wheat. Then also followed by soya beans and oil seeds other than soya beans. And of course, you perhaps know better than us these figures because you are the one that are dealing mostly with that. I think it's very useful to have this kind of recapitulative overview. And also another very important category is fruit, fresh or dried, excluding citrus of tropical fruits. That represented more than 15,000 tons. Unfortunately, all the data we have are only on volumes and not on values, but it's because this is what we retrieve from our database, which is traces. Being relevant partners, in particular for crucial sector, which is in particular the animal sector, as soon as the Russian invasion of Ukraine on 24th of February 2022, which was really the moment, the crucial moment for all for the population, first of all, but also for the exports. We have activated trade facilitations in order to cope with this exceptional and unprecedented challenge that the control authorities and the control bodies were facing. Therefore, we authorized the control bodies which were located in Ukraine and had headquartered in Ukraine to issue the quotas directly in traces. As you know, as from the 1st of January of this year, either the certificates have to be signed with the e-seal, which we are making compulsory in the next months. Then you use it the e-seal. Either you are supposed to present it the original copy in paper, but of course the situation of the mail was disrupted. The mail system, the post system in Ukraine was disrupted, and therefore what we decided is we activated the same derogation that was similar to one that was used during the COVID, that certificates could be validated directly in traces. That we found as a quick and helpful solution for the certification body to be able to issue the COI without the need either of a e-seal, which would have been a bit complicated to receive under the current circumstances, in particular because of the need of connecting, sending documents, etc., and to avoid to use the mailing system to provide with the relevant papers. We are monitoring closely the situation for the future, of course, to extend possibly this facilitation and for an additional period of time. So this is what we did, and then we also activated some other measures, but these were rather related to operators in the EU, which found themselves at a certain moment in lack of feed material for animals, and in this way we also coped with the situation. So waiting for all the control bodies to be registered in the e-seal, which is a strong recommendation that I can renew here. We are going to extend this derogation for a few months more, waiting to see how the current situation will evolve in the future. Said this, I wish you all good luck with the continuation of the business, and I thank you, Natalia, for this invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining our conference. It was very important for us that you are with us. And again, thank you to the whole European Union for the decisions which you've taken towards supporting Ukraine. Thank you very much. And now we will go again to our panelists from importer side. Again, my apologies that we need a little bit to rearrange the program due to very important speech of EU Commission. And I would like to ask for the floor Thomas Zaug Hefferly. He's a trader of agro-commerce from Switzerland. So we continue success stories and cooperation with Ukrainian organic exporters from foreign buyers. Thomas, the floor is yours. Thomas, could you tell something that we can be sure that we can hear you?
Normally,
oh, great. We can
is it
hear
good?
You.
Is it okay? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Greetings
Just
from
we cannot
Switzerland.
see you yet.
Okay,
we can
hello.
hear you, but not see yet.
Yeah, the camera is okay now. Without camera,
without you will be without camera.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Greetings from Switzerland. We haven't made a presentation from our company, but I think there is a lot of information you have already heard in the last presentation from the other persons. Perhaps a short information of our company. So Agrocommerz has merged in 2021 with the company Fuga and Terravera. Terravera also imports goods from the Ukraine. In the presentation afterwards, there will also be Bruno Geister who will tell us a little bit something about the company Terravera. Perhaps something a little bit special this year is the war. We have Terravera Austria has a person who came from a region of Kharkiv, and she is actually in Switzerland. So that shows that we as a company are also very touched by this special situation. And I hope that the situation concerning the war is going better and will stop briefly. What we do concerning import from the Ukraine, there mostly we import soybeans, but also wheat. Normally, we import the goods with ship or even trucks, but we see that actually the problems is really the logistic. The logistics costs are going higher and higher, and it's even quite difficult to organize transports from the Ukraine to Switzerland. And I hope, or we hope, and I think that is one of our major question: how can we import goods in correct quality in the future with calculated with transport prices which are more or less okay? Because if the transport costs are too high, then even Ukraine wouldn't be competitive to the other countries around Switzerland. And we hope that we can continue working with Ukraine, because we have made a very good experience concerning quality, concerning also the reliability, and we have good partners in Ukraine. So I think that is more or less all from my side. If you have any question or need any further informations, please do not hesitate to contact Agrocommerz or even my colleague Bruno Geister from company Terravera.
Thank you very much, Thomas. I think that if would be some questions, we will send them directly to you. And again, thank you very much for long-term commitment and cooperation with Ukrainian organic exporters from your company. Because we have heard a lot of positive feedback about your company from Ukrainian exporters. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
Let me ask Bruno Heiser from Terravera to join us and to share his experience about cooperation with Ukrainian organic exporters. Thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Okay, I hope you can hear and see me.
We can hear and see you.
Okay. As my speech before said, we as Terravera merged in 2020 together with AgroCommerz, but Terravera kept the name as Terravera because our customers know us very well since a long time, and that's why we kept the name Terravera. We started doing business with Ukraine with the help of Mr. Thoralf Richter some years ago, and are already on the market since 2015, more or less. And we steadily increased the quantities out from Ukraine to Switzerland and also to the European Union. And now, of course, with COVID and the war situation, the things gets more difficult. As several speeches before already said, we have, of course, the same challenges to do. Transport capacity is the most important for us at the moment. And we should have for customers in Western Europe reliability, which can maintain the chain of production. And also we are faced with the challenges of the price calculation, as Ms. Anastasia Belich already said. It's quite interesting for us to hear that everybody has to fight with the same difficulties. Also, many thanks to Sergey, who explained the situation. For me, it was important to get the actual situation from the Ukraine and to see that everybody wants really to maintain the deliveries, and we are also fighting to find trucks. We are checking now possibilities with the rail already. With this transboarding, it's not as easy, but we are working on that, and we are trying to help the Ukrainian producers and exporters to maintain our long relationship with them. So we have our partners, as Mr. Zauk already said, also at the moment here in Switzerland, 30 kilometers away from my office. So I see her very often. She knows the situation very well. She has the language to get informations directly from the cities, and that's very helpful for us. And that's from our side, Terravera, the main focus actually to get the goods transported from Ukraine to Western Europe. Yeah, many thanks for that, and good luck for everybody, and stay healthy. That's the most important for us. And I heard also a lot of stories from our partners, and yes, that's hard for the Ukrainian people.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience, and that you continue to work and understand how difficult it is to work for Ukrainian organic exporters and service providers. And I would like also to thank to all panelists of this discussion. And I think in your faces, which we saw today, we would like to thank on behalf of the Ukrainian organic exporters and service providers and policymakers to you, our international partners, because you keep the second front. Ukrainians are on the first front, but you're on the second front. So it's really important to cooperate and to understand that we are fighting for the same values, democratic values and human rights values, and for having peace all over the world. Thank you very much for all panelists. Interesting that we had several questions from our exporters, how to find a good partner, where to have the list, where to get the list of organic importers. I think that this question will be partially answered by the Entrepreneurship and Export Promotion Office and different private service providers which are acting in Ukraine, and also through participation at the BioFach and other international trade fairs. So I would like to go to the next session we have, and we have another very interesting speaker. Let me introduce to you Dr. Johann Neuendorf. He is the managing director of certification body Gesellschaft für Ressourcenzentrum Schutz from Germany. I know Mr. Johann for a long time, and I'm very happy that he's today with us.
Hello, Natalie. Welcome and thanks for inviting. My problem is currently that I cannot share the screen, but I can try now. So you had to...
You can try, but if it will be not possible, we will share your presentation.
No.
Or we can see it.
Which
Great,
one?
thank you.
The presentation or the
yes,
normal?
We can see you and we can see your presentation.
Very good. I have two screens in front of me. So it's always a little bit difficult for older people, huh? And I'm becoming an older people. So an older guy. So my task today is to report a little bit on the new EU regulation and possible consequences for organic imports to the European Union. You have heard already something from Elena, and hopefully this whole exercise works. Ladies and gentlemen, as already announced by Natalie, congratulations. The presentation is status as of yesterday. So I didn't have the resolution of the European Parliament in. You have a few key achievements happening since 2022. And these key achievements, I would say, are very positive for Ukraine, despite the war. There was in the past an EU list of high-risk countries existing. And Ukraine was unfortunately, despite several seminars and several activities of the sector, all the years along part of the list. And it was removed end of December 21. So Amos has already briefly mentioned it. It took some time for the member states and the Commission to discuss how the new list will look like, and Ukraine, I can say, is not on the list. From July 22 onwards, I think that restricts a little bit additional, or that limits a little bit additional burden. You have heard from Elena, and I must really say the Commission was very quick with it, that they have started activities to facilitate exports from Ukraine through a mere electronic management of the traces COI from Ukraine. Was an activity of only 3 or 4 days until it became clear that paper COI are no longer necessary. And I must say I was very positively impressed of the activities of the Commission. Well, as the Commission proposes candidate status, and the European Parliament also gave a positive motion. I think these are all very good news for the organic sector in Ukraine, despite the war, despite this terrifying war. My task here is to explain a little bit some core elements of the new EU Organic Regulation 2018-848 for a candidate country, even more relevant than for a third country. The development of this third EU organic regulation was a quite burdensome process, I would say, and took place between 2013 and 2022. What we got out has basically a complex structure. It is one baseline regulation, 2018-848, and it has 14 standalone secondary acts, and 7 of them are relevant for third countries imports. So it becomes really now a quite complex exercise to get something into the European Union. And we also have significant changes, in particular for the third countries, and the candidate countries still belong to the third countries. What is new? Well, due to the fact that the so-called retroactive recognition of conversion period, I would say the shortening of conversion period in the field, we never applied fertilizers, we never applied pesticides. So all can be recognized immediately as being organic with all sorts of confirmation. This became in the past really a sort of a important competition element between third country certification bodies. So understandable, farms and exporters selected the certification body, accepting as easy as possible the organic status of the so-called non-used land. This was taken into account in the new regulation. We now have quite complex rules. And I would say, please discuss it with your certification body. Please look to it very much in detail within the European Union, in all member states. Shortening of conversion period or retroactive recognition of conversion period is an exception. It is not the rule. Yeah, if you look to the situation in Germany, in France, in Austria, in many other member states, only a few fields are retroactively recognized, but not the majority. And if this problem outside of the European Union is not solved, that the majority of fields immediately become organic, we will for sure receive more complex rules in future. We have more focus in the new regulation on soil fertility, so a strong emphasis on the crop rotation practices. This is, for your conditions in Ukraine, also a very important element for sustainable organic production. So please take it into account. Organic fertilizers and plant protection agents can be used only in case of compliance if they are registered nationally in Ukraine. Same situation as in other third countries. This will really become a complex problem, I assume. And the Commission, due to the fact that the majority of suspect cases with contaminations arrived to the European Union, arriving to the European Union comes from third countries and not from inner EU trade, has put a strong focus on precautionary measures against contamination and commingling with conventional goods. And the authorities within the European Union are very, very strongly hunting behind each individual residue case, with the obligation for the third country certification body to identify the reasons. And frankly speaking, the reason for such contaminations cannot be always drift, as a majority of explanations arriving to Brussels states. Well, these pictures come from Ukraine, from the past. And this shall basically explain you as the exporters a little bit. You know these pictures. We have previous use of storage facilities for different purposes. So it is really a good idea to have a close look to the logistics chain where are organic products stored, what was done in these storage facilities previously. It is a good idea to take dust samples and to see whether you can identify something to bring a product without contamination to the European Union, because contamination in storage facility needs to be avoided. And of course, also the use of prohibited pesticides for storage protection, phosphates and these things. So this is really a task, in particular, if you are living in war times. But as I said, you have certain achievements And this is a good starting point. Yeah, you were removed from the list of high-risk countries, which is also a little bit a political decision for sure. But this is a good starting point for you as Ukraine. So please do everything possible to avoid that you return. I think this is really, really important for you. We will have changes for the certification bodies operating in Ukraine. So everybody, let the CB be based in the European Union, or let it be based in Ukraine or other countries outside of the European Union, needs to undergo a new recognition process for compliance in front of the European Union. This recognition process shall end of December 24. There is no recognized compliant certification body today. So there is no list. Everybody is heavily working on it. I assume for US exporters, for US importers, that it will be done very similarly as it was done in the past with the equivalent certification bodies. The Commission will publish a list of a certain number of different certification bodies recognized for compliance. And then you have the selection. So if today somebody shows up and says, I'm recognized as compliant certification body in the European Union, this cannot be the truth because this list is not published yet. It is still the list which was demonstrated by Elena, which is the old list of the, I don't remember exactly, 20 or 21 certification bodies recognized for the purpose of equivalence. And Organic Standards and colleagues are very hard working that they get recognized as compliance certification bodies. The process must terminate end of December 24. For you, as a future candidate country, another issue becomes relevant. And this is own legislation. Your ministry is working on it, trying to adjust also with the EU requirements. I sincerely hope that this work will not be abandoned during the war period. I can definitely understand very well that the people in the ministry have now other priorities, but it might be also a long war. So as a candidate country, it's worth to put some emphasis on the legislation and to see that this local legislation is at least equivalent with the legislation in the European Union, and to have it well implemented on site, because this allows you in future to facilitate trade further. Well, to end up, this is a slide from an ex-staff member of the European Union, Herman van Boxhem. He has also been in Ukraine during an HAFI conference in Belgium. He's retired today, and one of his last souvenirs was during a meeting of the EU Commission with the third country certification bodies and the third countries authorities, where organic imports and the problems were discussed. And I would say the situation in several countries still remains. We might have, I'm not saying that everybody is doing that, we might have a few operators practicing prohibited fertilizer and pesticide use. We have quite complex trading structures across countries, organic exports leaving, for example, Ukraine, going to Turkey and other countries, leaving from there to the US, to the EU. I've said a few words about shortening of conversion period. This is this flexible land moving targets and harvesting certificates. No? So if I need more product, there is a certain flexibility. The interesting question is how the certification bodies will deal with the last year stocks in Ukraine. We have had cases in the European Union in the past where ships were traveling from abroad, don't think from Ukraine, but from other countries in the region, and then unloading and uploading in other third countries and also in member states of the European Union. So at the end, traceability was plus minus lost, not very good. We have had many operators in many countries which conducted a sort of shopping amongst control bodies, select the easiest one with the best promise, which then afterwards lost EU approval, and then the problem starts. We have had bribed inspectors, and we have had struggling supervisors. I'm personally one of these struggling supervisors who's also traveling abroad. So it also concerns me and not only operators in third countries. But this picture shall illustrate you that on the level of the European Union, the situation is recognized. Everybody tries to be very polite. You have a very positive situation at the moment, which I try to explain with my second slide, but these challenges still exist also in Ukraine, a large country, and in this problematic situation of war. So, consequences for organic certification of the new regulation. Please don't select a certification body promising everything. I don't want to have a conversion period. You can have it fully organic in the first year. Because Santé, the commission will be on site. These certifiers will lose recognition for sure. It will last a few years, but it will come. So I would not recommend to do that, and I would recommend to farmers and to exporters to look a little bit more carefully than in the past. Now, I've seen 8-9 years ago also confirmations in Russian and English in Ukraine issued by local authorities that the conditions of the European regulations are fully met. And frankly speaking, I asked myself, where for heaven's sake does a local authority in Ukraine know what the conditions are? I've seen on site years ago during visits also crop rotations where I thought, well, this is not really for building up soil fertility. And we had, of course, you all know, contamination and commingling cases, transport, storage, and export. And all this will become a difficult issue with the new regulation. So please, now is the time. Now you have a good starting point. Focus on good organic cultivation practices. Protect your very sensitive black soils, your chenozymes. Look carefully to the logistical chain. Well, I'm certifier, I'm quality assurance guy. It's easy to say. Yeah? The Swiss exporters have said how complicated it is. You need to get the products out of the country. You need to use railway stations. You need to transload. So please have a careful look that nothing goes wrong at this intermediate storage facilities in the railway wagons, that nothing is commingled, that nothing is stored in facilities where contamination might arise. This is really something, even if it is complicated, please take it into account. And if you have a good certification body, an experienced certification body, please get in touch and ask them for information what to do from the Ukrainian side. Well, the last recommendation, as always, please select a reliable and reputable organic certification body. My motto, be better safe then afterwards, sorry, because you cannot export your product, which happened in the past in Ukraine. You remember this ETCO case. Yeah, that was my presentation. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being with you today. And once again, congratulations to the European Parliament. I think the member states will follow, hopefully. I'm pretty sure that we will have something positive afterwards. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Johan. Very interesting aspects you mentioned during your presentation, and very good message that Ukrainian organic regulation to be adapted to the new EU organic regulation. And we would like to thank you very much to all speakers for their valuable inputs and for activeness of also our audience. We saw a lot of contacts shared in the chat and a lot of questions which were sent at the beginning, and speakers really managed so well that they answered almost all questions from the participants which sent their questions in advance. And I also would like to tell that in chat, you also saw a lot of information which is useful, as Andrey mentioned, catalog, and also about organic topic within the official website of the Ministry of Agrarian Policy and Food of Ukraine. And also I would like to thank to all international community for your cooperation and for your wish to cooperate. And I also would like to remind one of the questions which we received in advance from one of the registered participants. How can we help the Ukrainian organic sector, which is brave, which is resilient, and which is really working very hard? And I would like to tell you that this opportunity also exists, and we have just sent to the chat the information. Organic Initiative has started the grant program, Support of Organic Sector in Ukraine. And we would like to tell that not all Ukrainian organic producers, they could export. There are many micro and small and medium enterprises which were focused on domestic market only. And they have unfortunately lost it due to the situation in Ukraine. And they also would like to continue to be organic. And it's really very important to show your support hand to them. And already the first stage of this grant program, which showed the solidarity with Ukrainian organic sector, was fulfilled. And over 70 Ukrainian organic producers received their support. In addition, also the German organic project initiated a support program and helped to the to organic producers. And now you see in the chat the contact of Olena Deineko, with whom you could contact if you would like to support Ukrainian organic sector. I would like to pass the floor to my colleague, co-moderator, Andrey Litvin. Please, Andrew, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Natalie, for the perfect moderation. I will be very short, just a short conclusion of our today's conference. Firstly, I would like to thank all the participants, partners, and co-organizers of this conference. Organic Standard Certification Body, an Organic Initiative, Tweet the Land, the programs, high value added trade from the organic and dairy sector in Ukraine, organic trade for development in Eastern Europe, our ministries, also our speakers. Thank you very much. Thank you for your support. And thank you for joining this event. Only joint work allows us to develop synergies and get the best result. On behalf of the office, thank you all for your support, for your significant contribution to the development of Ukraine, and I think a quick victory. Today, it's not just a business, as my colleague Andrey said at the beginning, it's about people. It's about relationships, about communication, about trust, about long-term partnership. And I would lie if I say that we need support. But as our president once said, when he was asked to evacuate, I don't need a ride, I need ammunition. That is why what we are talking about today, we don't need regrets, we need orders. We are ready to work, we are ready to export, and in turn we'll fulfill our obligations even under shelling. I hope that soon we'll be able to hold the second conference, but offline in the capital of freedom and at the same time of Ukraine, Kyiv. So thank you very much for joining this event, and glory to Ukraine.
Thank you very much to everybody, and goodbye.